All right, without further ado, I would like to invite Architect Shah Kamaruddin to give his introduction speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Morning everyone. My name is Shah Kamaruddin. On behalf of Zaini Mufti, today I would like to welcome all of you to PAM Center. He says sorry for not being able to be here this morning, but he'll join us in the afternoon later. Okay, thank you very much for spending your Saturday morning to come here and talk about OSC today. The topic today, we are going to talk about OSC objectives, challenges, and opportunities. Thank you also to our speakers, Promet and Nippon Paint, for very graciously sponsoring this event. We have lined up a few speakers to talk about the issues about One Stop Center today. I will let Aizat to introduce them to you a bit later. But we're going to have a full day today. Perhaps a bit of housekeeping. Hopefully we can put our phones on silent throughout the session today. I think the topic today about OSC, I think we all practicing architects, we have a lot of things that we would like to share. Probably some of them may be a bit emotional. Perhaps what we can do today is to have an open mind. Bear in mind that today in the list of 5 speakers, we have some practicing architects and some are from PBTs as well, from local authorities. So let's keep this discussion today more constructive. Whatever that you have to share, keep it factual. Hopefully we can get something out of it. The purpose of the event today is going to be recorded, and hopefully things that we're going to discuss by the panelists and inputs from all of you from the floor will be recorded, and then hopefully Pam will bring this up to KPKT, and then we'll see how we can have an engagement with the local authorities and how they could improve the OSC processes. I will not talk more. We have a long day with us today. But since that we're going to be here until 4 p.m., I hope all of us will enjoy the rest of today and then try to share as much as possible. This affects us all, OSC processes, whether or not it's the good, the bad, and ugly. But we are here to learn from ourselves. There are certain areas that we may not know from certain PBTs that we may want to learn. So I will stop there. I'll pass this back to Aizat. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Shah, for the short and sweet introduction. Next, I would like to invite our sponsor, Tristan Chan from Nippon Paint, to share about their products.
Okay, morning everyone. So thank you all for coming on a Saturday. So I will just do a very quick introduction about Nippon Paint in case you haven't heard about us before. So basically Nippon Paint was previously is currently known as the coating expert, but we have grown further than that to even now provide beyond coating. So our locations, you can see that we've been in many different locations across the globe already. We started from Japan, now we go all the way to I think 22 different locations according to this graph. I hope I counted it correctly. Then we are now currently the #1 market leader. So we are Asia's number 1 paint and then 4th globally. So you can see basically that's some facts and figures. We have about 102 factories and facilities. We produce about 5.2 billion liters of paint. We are Asia #1 and globally #4. And then we have about in 22 countries. Yep, that was the correct number. So these are some of the iconic projects that we have had. So you can see we have done projects in Beijing, Singapore, Dubai. So with Nippon Paint now, we are now completing our journey into this total coating and construction solutions journey. So what is this total coating and construction solutions? It encompasses these 3 companies as well. So Nippon Paint in 2020, we acquired Sally's, which is a DIY home improvement sealant adhesive company. In 2021, we acquired Vital Technical, which is also another sealant adhesive and filler company, more focusing on the construction side. And in 2022, we acquired CMI, which is the 3rd largest dry mortar cementitious mixture company. They are a company that provide pre-packed dry mix solutions like skim coat, tile adhesive, and render. So with all of this, now we can provide a total coating and construction solution that includes architectural coatings, protective coatings, waterproofing solutions, flooring solutions, sealant adhesive and fillers, and lastly, dry mortar cementitious. So yep, as I mentioned, these 6 segments, which are more focused for the construction sites, we have all the 6 segments here. So this is just a quick video to introduce Nippon Paint. So yeah, you can see Nippon Paint now is just not a paint company. We can do many other things. So don't let the Nippon Paint in paint fool you. We are now a total coating and construction solutions provider as well. So with this, we are now proud to very proudly present this first in the region anti-efflorescence system. So what is this anti-efflorescence systems that we can provide? So I think everyone here will know what efflorescence is. I think every building will experience this if it's not done properly. So this is all the white patches that will occur on the exterior facade of the building. So how does it occur? It mainly occurs due to cracks in the system, and also because concrete itself already has salt minerals inside. Once water enters through the cracks, it dilutes the salts. It will bring out the salts through the cracks, and when the water evaporates, it will leave these white patches on the surface. So that is what this efflorescence is. So Nippon Paint now has this anti-efflorescence system. So we provide the skim coat and also the top coat, the sealer and the top coat to provide this property. So the main property for this is the skim coat, which is a hydrophobic skim coat that can prevent water from seeping through. Then we have our sealer and our top coat, which provides all the external weathering protection that your external wall needs. So this is just a video about this system. So yep, you can see that with CMI and Nippon Paint, we can come out this one-stop compatible solution for this anti-efflorescent. So yep, the main key product inside is actually this hydrophobic skim coat, which is CMI's base mortar EX981. It's an external skim coat that provides these hydrophobic properties to prevent water from seeping through. Then we have our 5100 wall sealer, which is basically, imagine it like foundation before your makeup. This is, you need to have this to put before your exterior top coat, so it provides a better adhesion and protects your surface as well. And lastly, which is our weather bond. This is our exterior top coat, which provides all the external weathering protection, fungus resistance, and also protects your building from color fading and color chalking as well. So as you saw from the video, that the skim coat actually has these hydrophobic properties. So with these hydrophobic properties, if any cracks were to occur on the skim coat, the water cannot penetrate through. Without water penetrating through the skim coat to dilute the salts in your concrete, it can't bring out the salts. It can't bring out the salts to cause the efflorescence on your surface. So yeah, you can just see this part again, where you can see that after we pour the water inside, and with the crack in the middle of the bowl to simulate, there's no water coming out of this. We want to emphasize that this one is just for headline cracks. Obviously, if there's a very big crack for your wall, water will definitely seep through, because this one is meant to cater those concrete and structural movements like thermal expansion and contraction from your building. So this is all like hairline cracks, so water can seep through those hairline cracks. So in the video, we did this efflorescence testing. So basically how we did efflorescence testing is we apply our system on a panel, then we put the panel on top of a cotton soaked with very, very concentrated salt solution. So this scenario is actually considered very, very not realistic, but then it's supposed to simulate a very severe environment. So we soak, after the cotton has been soaked with the salt solution, we leave the panels on top to let the salt penetrate through the panels and onto the surface. So this is when we started the test. So all panels are still okay. We did with one panel with exterior coating only, one panel with coating with a sealer and top coat, and one with our full system with the skim coat and the sealer top coat. So after 1 week, you can already, after 21 days, you can see that the exterior coating only has really quite severe efflorescence on it already. Well, the sealer and top coat is still okay, and our anti-efflorescence system is still okay. This one is one thing to show that why sealer is important for your building. You can't just apply exterior top coat even though you want to cut cost everything, but sealer is still a key ingredient to protect your building from all these defects. But after 90 days, this salt formation also still forms on the sealer and top coat panel. But our anti-efflorescence system has no efflorescence forming on it yet. So you can see that is this system is actually proven that it can prevent this efflorescence. But bear in mind, this testing is also very severe. In real life conditions, this shouldn't happen unless your building is in a very very salty environment. So with this, we can proudly offer that we can proudly say we also offer the first in the region anti-efflorescence external warranty. So our external warranty actually will cover brick wall, block walls, and also RC walls, reinforced concrete walls. So, and then it will cover efflorescence, fungus, paint peeling, and paint cracking. So this one, another thing to take note is that we only provide this warranty for new construction buildings, because to refurbish a building with efflorescence, nobody is going to apply a skim coat over a refurbished building. So this one is mainly for new constructions to prevent efflorescence from happening in the future. So yep, that's all for my presentation for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tristan. Okay, we're moving on to our next sponsor. I would like to invite Sean Lee from ProMat to share about his product.
Good morning, everyone. So, basically, my name is Sean. So, first of all, good morning, and thank you for your time for joining us today. So, it's quite glad to see so many of you in the Saturday morning. I'm the technical sales for the Southeast Asian market. Today, basically, I will walk you through on the very high level, not much on the details on what the offering by ProMat. So basically, this is a quick agenda for the flow for my today. So at first, of course, we will go through the brief introduction of ProMat of the eTex group. So normally people ask like, who is ProMat? In the past, I heard about ProMat, but now why it's changing to eTex? So I will give some clarification over there. And then later on, we will show you the ProMat range of the product and also the solution happen at various stages of the construction, from structural steel protection, going into compartmentation, and also M&E enclosure, as well as the fire stopping. So, who is ProMat and who is eTex? So actually, ProMat is part of the eTex group. So eTex is actually from Belgium. It's a Belgian company headquartered in Brussels, with the employee more than 13,000 globally, and then operate in 160 sites in 45 countries, and last year we recorded a sales revenue of 3.8 billion euro. So ProMat, we actually is the expert in the passive fire protection. So we are not only providing the passive fire protection solution and system, we are also a product manufacturer. So like for example, the fire protective board made from the cousin silicate, and then we also have producing the indomescent paint, vermiculite spray, as well as quite a wide range of the fire stopping products. So yeah, since we are pretty much focusing into the passive fire protections, so why these matters? So we know that the fire protection, the main purpose is actually to limit the spread of the fire from spreading, and also to contain the fire at its origins. So thereby is to protecting the life, and also to protect the asset, the integrity of the building. And it's not allowed for the safe evacuation, but it also protect the firefighting efforts. It also protecting the rescue team after when they come in to rescue. So also one thing that always being neglected, or I mean, we kind of like didn't aware is like the fire is not only causing the damage during the fire event, but also after the fire. It not only damage the property, the asset, but it also affect the business continuation, the recovery, and subsequently the insurance premium as well. So these are some of the consequences from the fire damage. And now it comes to the core of the sharing section today. So in the next couple of minutes, I will walk you through on the PAMCPD range of the passive fire protection from very beginning, the structure of the building, especially steel. We know that most of the building material, when exposed to high temperature, it will lose the strength, it will collapse. It affects the building integrity. So from the structural protection, then we move on into more on interior, the compartmentation. And, later on, I mean, we have a good, effective compartmentation, but when the services that penetrate through, it actually leave behind the opening gaps and so on. It actually is the weak point where the fire and smoke can pass through when there's a fire. So I will touch a bit on the fire stopping and eventually on the M&E enclosure, those like critical services that need to remain functional when there's a fire, like for example, power supply, smoke extraction duct, pressurization duct, and so on. So moving on, structural protection, especially when it comes to steel. Nowadays, we have quite a lot of projects, fast-track projects, where we use a lot of steel structures, steel structure elements. So PAMCPD, we have the full solution for various types of the protection method. So we probably is the only one that can provide these three solutions. First of all, on the far left, it basically board encasement. So we actually fire protect the structural steel by cladding the fire protective board around the structural steel by slowing down the heat transfer and the risk that being exposed to fire that it might increase the premature failure. So the key advantage of using the board encasement is basically, it's very straightforward. It's a board, you cut it, you clad it, and it also allows of the uniform thickness, because it's kind of like being pre-manufactured, whereas the rest, you need a skilled worker, you need to measure the thickness from time to time. Thickness is the one that critical that to provide the fire protection. So another benefit is like it basically is not required for surface preparation. So yeah, because the primer, it will not affect the adhesion of the board, and it can allow to have a decorative finishing on top, because it's a flat, smooth surface. You can do any kind of decorative treatment on top. Then it comes to the vermiculite spray. Vermiculite spray is the method when you need to cover a large area, and also when speed is critical. You need something fast, you need something quick, and for large area, then mostly vermiculite is the ideal solution. But one thing that drawback is vermiculite spray, the visual is a bit not so appealing. So the surface a bit texture, a bit rough. So in order to achieve some certain of aesthetic, you might require some ID decorations. So then come to the last, intumescent paint. PAMCPD, we offer the water-based intumescent coating. It basically, how it works is like, it's a very thin layer, it's just like a regular paint. It's a thin, it's smooth surface, aesthetic-wise, is perfect. But when it exposed to the high temperature, when it exposed to the fire, then it will expand, it will form an insulating char layer. This is how it works, although despite the thickness very thin. Then the next, this is some of the project reference in terms of the different protection method. So on the far left, transspace, it looks like timber, but actually it's a structural steel. So we clad the structural steel beam with the board, and then later on we have the timber decorative finishing on top. And of course, when it comes to the, let's say there's some surrounding, some wall or ceiling that attached to the structural steel, board encasement, it also allowed to have a same perfect finishing on that. So moving to the centers, vermiculite spray, it looks good from far, but in fact the texture is a bit rough. So normally we use it for the, let's say, industrial building, or when it comes to, let's say, commercial building, then you might require additional decorative measure, like you need some ID ceiling or ID box up to cover up the rough surface. So come to the last, intumescent paint. Aesthetic-wise, intumescent paint is very ideal, where you can maintain the structural steel look. Like architect, you have a very good idea where I want to shape, might have a custom shape or maybe a circular shape, all these things. But if you go for other protection method, it might look a bit off from your idea. So intumescent paint is kind of like an idea where for this to maintain the steel look, and also for the area where it's very complex, hard to reach application. So when it comes to compartmentation, I think everyone over here, you know very well, architect, compartmentation is a very critical in terms of the building design. It basically divides the space into, from the building space from the big area into a smaller area for the fire safety management. So when it comes to it, Promet solution, we are pretty much focusing in the vertical and also for the horizontal separations. So I will go in more details later on. For vertical compartmentation, on the far left, the very general one, steel stud partition, where is a construction, is a partition where you have a framework making from the steel stud, and then you fix the fire protective board on the both sides. So it's tested up to 4 hours, that fulfilling the integrity and also for the insulation criteria. Over here, normally our design, we have using the rock wool as an infill to enhance the fire performance. So it's not only for the fire, so meaning that this system, when it comes, it also gives a good thermal and acoustic performance as well. Then moving to the middle one, solid partition. So in this case, it offers a very slim design without usage of any rock wool, just by the fire protective board itself. With 2 layers of 25 mm, so overall thickness of 50, it can achieve up to 2 hours fire rating that are fulfilling integrity and insulation. So for 4 hours, it's 75 mm. So this is based on what we have tested. So normally, where those area is critical, where it have thickness constraint, you need only have a really limited space, or it can only install from one side, then we will go with this kind of slim design. So the last is more on the high performance solutions, where those, for example, for industrial or for the critical area where impact, where durability is a concern. So DuraSteel system is a kind of a very robust and bespoke solutions, and it also can be customized, it can be designed to have the blast resistant as well. So this is some of the, just a project reference where very general for the steel stud partition, framework, rock wool, and after that we fix with the fire protective board. Then DuraSteel system, the one that you can see on the right, is the final finishing. It can be also being customized design where for those large area you want to have a removable panels, and for those, in this example, it actually is along the MRT underground track where the train will passing through, suffering a lot of wind pressure and turbulence. So it also kind of like showcase how durable the system it is. And of course, for those critical areas like transformer, genset, and so on, where you need to protection from fire and blast. And it can be go for outdoor application as well. So when you come to the horizontal compartmentation, so we also have a different design for that. So the one on the suspended ceiling, I think is quite popular, it's very common. It basically is supported by a suspended, interlocking suspended framework, and then with some of the suspension members. Normally it hangs from the soffit or it hangs from the structural beams. So in this case, normally the board, the fire protective board is fixed from the underside. So it only protects the fire from below only. And when it comes to suspended ceiling, it is ideal for the large area. There's no limitation in terms of the ceiling span as long as the structure, the framing structures have been installed correctly. Then moving to the center, self-supporting ceiling. So this type of ceiling, it actually not require any hanger system. So by itself, the system is self-supporting. It basically is fixed between, wall to wall. So there's no any suspension members that you need to fix from the soffit or from the structural beam to support the whole structures. So normally it's a symmetrical design where it can protect the fire from top and bottom. The fire from above and fire from below. And it's ideal to subdivide when you have a very large compartmentation. So same to the last one, we also have a very bespoke system where impact resistant durability is a concern. Normally it being used for those areas like industrial and also for those high traffic environment. So these are some of the examples where being used for the fire lobby is separating the services and the escape route corridor fire lobby with the self-supporting ceiling. And this is the Durasteel, where it kind of like to have the vertical separations for the genset and being used for the outdoor application. And moving next, this is just escalator pit where you have a large floor opening and then you need to build a compartment to protect the fire integrity. So moving to the next chapter, fire-rated MEP, it basically all those critical services that it need to remain function during the fire, like for example, the ducting, the smoke extraction, pressurization, or even for the power supply, they need to be fire compartment as well. So PROMET coming as the holistic approach for the passive fire protection solution, we have this kind of system as well. So very general one, the first cladding to the steel duct. It actually is using the fire protective board and also the insulation to wrap around the steel duct liner, so in order to enhance the fire performance. So we have tested also up to 4 hours stability, integrity, and insulation. So, and moving to the middle one, self-supporting duct. The design itself is structurally sound. So without using any of the steel duct liner, just with the fire protective board, it can be fabricated as the ducting, and it can also achieve up to 4 hours fire rating, fulfilling stability, integrity, and insulation as well. One of the beauty of this system, like it can also be a modular construction. It can be fabricated, prefabricated, bring to the site, erect, and connect. And of course, we have various assessment reports that can support for the various of the installation. So either 4-sided, 3-sided, 2-sided, or even single-sided. So for example, when the ducting is traveling along the corridor, and normally ducting is as close as to the soffit. So on top, only have a very minimal gap where you can do the installation. So we have a protection method where you can clad from 3 sides to protect the ducting instead of the 4 side. Or when space is very limited, we can just build kind of like a ceiling, just protect from a single side. So we have different test data to support all these type of design. And very general one for the cladding to steel duct, where you have a duct passing through, then just build a framework, put in the mineral wool, and then protect it with the fire protective board. So this is the self-supporting duct, where we fabricate the ducting itself with the fire protective board without any steel duct liner inside. So other than the normal ducting, ventilation duct, we do have also enclosure, fire-rated enclosure for different building type of the services, like for example the piping, cable enclosure. We have system that can achieve up to 4 hours fire rating while also maintaining the circuit integrity. Meaning at this period of time, let's say 4 hours fire rating, it provides uninterrupted power supply. These are some of the reference for the Dexcom and also for the TRX. Then it comes to the fire stopping, like I said previously. I mean, we have a good fire compartmentation, we have the design in place, but when all those services passing through, normally it leaves gap or opening behind. Like let's say we want to have a piping, we want the ducting passing through a wall, you need to hack, and normally the hole, the opening is much bigger than your services. Without a proper fire sealing, then it becomes a weak point where when there's a fire, the fire can easily pass through and causing the fire on the next door. So in this case, ProMat, we also have a wide range of product and solution that can tackle for this issue. So depending on what kind of services, whether it's a non-combustible, it's a combustible pipe like plastic pipe, metal pipe, or whether it's a cable tray and so on, what type of cables, and is it for the linear joint and so on, we have different solutions that can be tackled for the different kind of scenario. So it can be a permanent fix, it can be a temporary fix, it can be for wet, it can be a dry solution. So depending on what is the requirements, then we have different solution on that. So a bit touching on the part of our new innovative technology. So instead of the previous, the intumescent where it comes in different form, is soft, but this is kind of solid, rigid type of solutions. PromaStop IMC box, it actually is an intumescent sealing system for the cable penetration. So normally when it comes to retrofitting, if let's say I want to add cables or remove cables, then I need to remove the whole fire stopping. I need to remove the existing, maybe I need to make a hole bigger, then to do the modification. But with this system, it actually allowed for very easy installation without removing the whole thing. So it kind of like a pipe sleeve, and then middle, it actually is opening with flaps. So you can just easily do your retrofitting, modify a cable, either adding or removing without doing removal. So the black thing, the sleeve by itself actually is an intumescent. When there's a fire, it will expand and then it will close up the opening. So we also have the other one, using the new technology, we call it PromaStop IM Grill. It actually is an intumescent sealing system for the ventilation opening. So normally when it comes to, let's say, a firewall, it's opaque, it's solid, it don't allow for opening unless maybe you are putting some damper or maybe fire-rated glazing and so on. But yeah, it don't allow for the ventilation. But with this system, it actually allows air circulation at a normal condition. But when it comes to fire, it will expand and then it will seal up the opening. So it comes to the last part of my sharing section. Why choose ProMat? So with more than 60 years of the industry know-how, ProMat, we provide a full range of the passive fire protection solution, and of course our unmatchable customer support. It also is not only addressed for the regular needs, but we also tailor-made to take care for your innovative requirements. So other than that, yeah, by choosing ProMat, basically you are not only investing in the high quality fire safety solutions, but also you are prioritize the safety of the occupants, protecting the structures, and most importantly also compliance to the regulations. So, yep, thank you for your time and attention. So just remember, I mean, fire safety is just not about a compliance or requirements. It basically is the responsibility that's shared among all of us. So thank you.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you again to our sponsors, Nippon and Promet. Okay, let's proceed with our event for today. I would like to invite someone who is well-versed regarding OSC and its process. He will share us a brief history of OSC. So please welcome past PAM President, Dato' Architect Izumi Hazani Ismail.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And very good morning. Thank you for spending your Saturday morning here, listening to us. I think what I'm going to share is not so much of new things, maybe just to refresh a little bit, because I was told that to talk about the history of OSC, but I think I probably expand a little bit more. I know that some of the speakers here will talk more detail about their experience with dealing with OSC. So this is my cover slide, one-stop center. I do not know what to put inside there, so I just put one-stop center. And when it was launched in 2007, although that it was launched on 2007, but adopted by many local authorities in 2008. After some implementation, then people start to react to this implementation of the OSC by saying that it is not one-stop center, it is a full-stop center. So stop. But why that the perception of the industry is so negative about OSC? The intention is very good, the plan is very good, the system is very good. But why it is still fail to most of the industry's views? Okay, so when we talk about stop sign, it related very much with the traffic light. So if you go anywhere in the country, red means stop, green means go. Okay, but this idea actually tried to be implemented for OSC. OSC is the federal initiative, but placed at the PBT level. So most of the OSC staff actually is under the payroll of federal government, KPKT. Although that the other staff and department in PBT, they are under the PBT's payroll. Okay, so the intention is that so that we have a standardized, all the local authorities in Peninsular Malaysia have one system that can be easily understood by everybody, as easy as the traffic light, red, yellow, and green. Unfortunately, this is what happened. So we have at certain locality, they change the color of the traffic light. So when you have blue, purple, green, and sometimes you have cyan, yellow, magenta, what happened? It is very difficult to drive. It's very difficult. So you go to different locality and different color of traffic light as analogy. So, which actually reflect the different practice that added to the original system, which is supposed to be a uniform practice of the OSC system. So it is not the system that failed, but it is the implementation by adding more requirement and changing the requirement as much as you are changing the color of traffic light. So just to bring back, okay, why the initiative of OSC was implemented. So this is the historical data of the World Bank. Actually, I don't want to talk too much about the World Bank ease of doing business, but I think this actually the trigger point when OSC was started. When the World Bank started in 2002, 2003 to measure the doing business methodology in every country, we were ranked number 138, 131. So until 2007, when the OSC system was introduced to improve in terms of delivery of building permit, construction permit, then we improved to number around 112, 113. I do not go beyond that, 2008, so I just take the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2020. But why up to 2020? Because that was the last ease of doing business program. They stop it at 2020. They do not continue in 2021, not because of COVID, because of something else. So if you see in 2010, we are ranked number 109 in the world. And then we improve a little bit, 106. And then 2012, 113. So the Pemuda was established before that, so to look into this. And then we have a lot of dialogue, training with the World Bank, and we visited the top country in the world, how actually they managed to be the top 5, like New Zealand, Singapore, Hong Kong, they are the top 5. So we understand from them. Actually, there are a lot of initiatives that introduced to facilitate the business. Okay, to facilitate the business, not to facilitate the OSC staff or PBT. That's the difference. In our practice today, many localities or local authorities, they introduce improvement to facilitate what they are doing, but not the businesses. So it gives negative impacts to the businesses. So in 2013, OSC 1 submission was introduced to improve the system. And then 2014, OSC 3.0 was introduced. So you can see how our ranking increased tremendously. 113 to 2-digit, 96, 43, 28, 15, 13. And 2019, we are number 3. And the last one, 2020, we are number 2 in the world. We are very proud to be number 2 in the world. What happened on the ground? People keep on complaining, the OSC is failed, the OSC failed. So, but why? The World Bank, this is the World Bank ranking. We are number 2, but still fail. The reason why, because when we went to New Zealand, and we also see how we went to Taiwan, we also see how Singapore is doing it. Actually, they categorize the type of submission. So it's not one fit for all. So we learn from there. So that what was introduced in 2013 is OSC 1 submission. OSC 1 submission is only for the building that not more than 3 stories. Okay, the floor area not more than 10,000 square feet. And it is only for a single purpose building, standalone building. Why? Because the World Bank requirement, the measurement is only on the warehouse. Only the warehouse, non-residential, warehouse building, or non-residential, commercial, or warehouse building. So we only target for that. And that is only, the measurement is only for KL, DBKL. So the BKL implemented OSC 1 submission. So when the World Bank come with a study for warehouse submission in DBKL, of course, at that time we have the petrol station building, we have a library that as a case study for the World Bank. After the URA, I got sore throat, sometime coughing, so excuse me for that. Okay, so that's why our ranking increased. But we are not dealing with only petrol station or warehouse. So we are dealing with other projects, commercial, residential, where you cannot submit that kind of project under this category. So that's the reason why we got number 2 in the world, but on the ground, everybody keep on complaining. Okay, so even if you look at 2020, eliminated, okay, road and drainage inspection. To be the best in the world, we even say that you don't need to inspect. And it's happened only for the OSC 1 submission. So it's based on the engineer's self-declaration. I already inspected, I already done this, and then declare. So it is acceptable for that kind of building. However, the World Bank start to realize, and this is the reason why the Ease of Doing Business project was stopped in 2020. The World Bank start to realize that there's a lot of issues, even though you are on the top, okay, but you do not solve the problem on the ground. So the World Bank now introduced the new project, which is called the Business Environment Ready, or Be Ready. If you look at Be Ready, the new item that introduced here, one, previously the measurement is only on efficiency, which is number of procedure, cost, and also time, how many days. But now they introduced two more, which is the regulatory framework and public service. Regulatory framework, our regulatory framework is very good. We have a proper bylaw system, we have proper act. The one that we are lacking is basically public services and efficiency. So, but now World Bank, they are not only measuring in terms of building permit. If you see, there's no longer, previously they have dealing with construction permit. Now, they put dealing with construction permit as part of business location. Business location. And utility services is another category. So they separate these two. But all these two key indicators combined under the technical working group business location. So the business location indicator divided into three. One is the property transfer, which is dealing with land matters, including land conversion, subdivision, transferring of title, including the strata title, also under this one. And then the building permit, which is the previous dealing with construction permit, now is under the building permit. The new one that is included here is environmental licenses. It was not measured before, but now there's concern about gender and environmental. Then they include the measurement under this as well. But the one that I want to highlight here is number 2, public services. Under building permit public services, there are about the availability of online services and reliability of online services. We have online services. Okay, we have online submission for OSC 3. But they want to measure Kuala Lumpur, the capital city of the country. In Kuala Lumpur, at that time we do not have. They just started, Kuala Lumpur just recently started the online submission. Okay, so among the questions that will be asked, there are like 198 questions. 198 questions will be asked. Under the building permit, 69. So I just pick up some of the questions that are going to be very challenging to our country. For example, like question 42, 45. There is no online platform in issuing planning, approval, construction permit, and so on. So the response from the working group is that work in progress. In DBKS to establish a fully online platform. So DBKS just recently launched. Now they are still testing it, I think, which is good. Hopefully we can resolve the issue. But question 46, which is very important. There is no provision for online dispute on construction building permit approval decision. Until today, whatever decision made by the building department or PBT, then you have to accept it, whether it is right or wrong. For example, let's say the requirement for you to submit 4 copies hard copy. You submitted hard copy, 4 copies, but they say, I want 2 more copies after you already submitted. I cannot process until you give. You cannot dispute it. There's no avenue to dispute. So it was suggested that to amend regulation to have the center for dispute resolution. So where actually, for whatever gray area, then the determination of the decision can be discussed and decided by the third party instead of the PBT or local authority to tell you, you have to do this, you have to do this. Okay, so that it becomes independent and fair for everybody. And it is, they try to make it uniform in terms of decision, not that different local authority decide differently. There are many other questions as well. I will skip that part. So after 2007, the introduction of OSC implemented most PBT in 2008, including DBKL also 2008. Then 2014, we worked together with KPKT, JKT to introduce the OSC 3.0. Then 2019, OSC 3.0 plus, and 2021, the OSC 3.0 plus online was introduced. So as the standard number of, the standard process for construction permit, the World Bank terminology, they call it construction permit, there are between 5 to 7 processes. In our country, we have 6. In most countries, they only have 5 processes. They do not have the first P1 process, which is the data gathering. They do not have this. But in our country, we have that. And some countries, they have 7. They have the data gathering, and they have P7, which is after the certificate of fitness, they have the operating license as part of the process. It means that without the operating license, you cannot even move into the building. Only some countries do that. So we are like in the middle, we have 6. So this is the standard procedure, P1, P2, up to P6. I want to highlight about P1. It's stated, this is from the OSC manual. The P1 process is data gathering, which is not mandatory. Basically, you are asking for information from the utility providers, from TNB, from water, from IWK, so that you know how to design. Okay, the route, the coming, whether you have the loading, the water pressure, and so on, so that you can design properly. That is the purpose. Okay, and these are the departments that will be referred to. Okay, interestingly, this is documented, and this is from OSC Manual 3.0. If you look at for building plan, it's only 3 departments that need to be referred. Okay, so which is Jabatan Bomba, Jabatan Perancang, Jabatan Kejuruteraan, and the decision makers, Jabatan yang memperakui, Jabatan Bangunan. This is in the manual. But what happened today? When you submit for building plan, you have to get the approval from all the utilities provider, which is actually is not required under the original manual. But a lot of changes been done by the local authority that even for building plan approval submission, you still need to submit and get the approval from all the utility providers, which is under Tenaga Nasional, IWK, water utilities, and so on. Okay. Even there's some, I think there's some error here. They put Jabatan Bomba under utility provider. Jabatan Bomba is not utility provider, and Jabatan Bomba never an approving authority. They do not have the provision under the law or under the act to approve plan. They only can give comment because the approving authority is the local authority or Jabatan Bangunan. Okay, so with all this confusion, and then it leads to bigger problem. This is an extract from the manual, process 1, technical data gathering. If you see here, inconsistency between the regulation and practice in obtaining planning and building plan approval. Why? because some local authority now make this mandatory. There are some local authorities, 15 minutes. Some local authorities say that you cannot submit online OSC until you get the approval from all the utility providers. And you get the approval from JKR, you get approval if your road under the JKR, you must get approval from JKR, JPS, TMB, I Selangor, IWK, then only you can submit. They make this mandatory. Without that letter, approval, or sokongan, you cannot submit, you cannot even register to submit OSC. This is what happened on the ground. And then I highlighted here that some like minor error, the flowchart error, it should not be sequential. Okay, that you have to go to bomber first and then all this department, then only you can go to pemohon. And the other one is that being practiced in some local authorities that PBT impose mandatory BP submission for fee calculation approval. Before you can register to submit in OSC, you must submit full building plan for the Jabatan Bangunan to calculate the fee, how much fee that need to be charged, the processing fee. It will take 2 to 3 weeks to get that approval. After get approval, then only you can apply, you can submit online. It means that you submit the full building plan first, then you come back and pretend that now it's fresh submission. And whatever the process that 3-4 weeks or 3-4 months to obtain the approval earlier is not counted in the system. Okay, so, and some local authority also, okay, I don't want to mention which local authority. So this is under the Act, Uniform Building Bylaw. The plan fees are for ground floor, first floor, and this is the rate. Now there are local authorities start to add more charges to this. Okay. So when you submit terrace houses, 100 units, the terrace houses got, let's say, 5 toilets, 5 WC, 5 wash hand basin, or maybe another basin in the kitchen. They are charging 50 ringgit for every WC and every wash hand basin. So let's say 600 per unit multiplied by 100 units. On top of the building plan calculation, which is mandated under the bylaw. Some local authorities start to that. And your terrace houses got fence. You have to pay additional for the fence according to the length, multiplied by the number of units. So this is all the one that changed the color of the traffic lights. So process number 2. Okay, there's some errors in the, I have highlighted to KPKT before, some errors in terms of chart. For example, missing link. The red color arrow is the one that I added because I think it should clearly show that when we submit to OAC, all the information submitted online should be channeled, or even hard copy should be channeled to the external technical agency. But in the chart, the red arrow is missing. So what happened? There are local authorities say that you have to bring your drawing to all the external department. Although the original intention of OAC is a single window, you go to the OAC, you submit everything, distribution should be done by OAC. But because of the staffing issue, cost issue, now they are saying that there is no arrow here, so it's not our duty. The PSP must bring directly to external agency, to utility providers. So it starts to go back to the time before the OAC was implemented. You have to go department, every department, get all the approval letter, collect everything, and send to the OAC. I think I have to move faster. Okay, so after you have submitted, there are many things that I highlighted here. I even highlighted to KPKT that I think some flowchart error need to be corrected, missing link. But one is important is that here. So in the manual, if you see that, okay, if you cannot get absolute approval, then you can get approval with condition to amend the plan. There's no more lulus bersyarat. Lulus bersyarat was abolished now change to lulus dengan syarat pindaan plan. But what is the difference? There's no difference to the local authority. They still give approval, lulus bersyarat dengan pindaan plan, then they ask for you that, they put the condition that you must comply with the, for example, like land premium must be paid, and Bumi Putra Kota must be complied, cukai tanah must be paid. There is nothing to do with pindaan plan. Okay, whether the owner pay the assessment fee or quick rent, you don't change the plan, isn't it? It's not that if you pay your rent, then the boundary shifted. No. So the purpose of syarat pindaan plan when you must change the plan. For example, okay, you do a bungalow, the culvert probably 3 meters, but local authority say, I can give you approval with condition, it has to be 4 meter. You get the approval, so within 28 days, you amend from 3 meter to 4 meter. It's actual physical change on the plan, but not syarat-syarat non-technical that does not require the change of plan. Okay, so this is a letter from KSN saying that, okay, there are 3 things. The number 2, okay, so mengubah suai keputusan kelulusan bersyarat kepada kelulusan dengan pindaan. So basically, you mention here, amalan PBT adalah mencampur adukkan syarat-syarat pindaan atas plan dan syarat-syarat yang perlu dipatuhi semasa pembinaan dalam kelulusan bersyarat. Because some of the condition previously mentioned that, okay, you have to, for example, during the construction you must use clay brick, for example. So that is syarat during the construction. Okay, there's many other syarat. For example, memastikan tiada air bertakung semasa pembinaan. So similarly, it got nothing to do with the building plan approval. Those are syarat-syarat during the construction. Memastikan pekerja asing ada permit, for example. So those many things. So the decision made by the government at that time, at the federal level, is that keputusan lulus bersyarat dari mesyuarat jawatankuasa OSC hendaklah digugurkan dan diganti dengan kelulusan dengan pindaan plan. Kelulusan dengan pindaan plan menghendaki perunding meminda pelan-pelan dan memastikan ianya bersedia untuk disahkan dan seterusnya kelulusan boleh dikeluarkan. So it means that within 28 days, you submit the amendment and then approve. No need to go back for the meeting approval. But how many local authority understand this? Okay. So this is the actual letter, was sent 2019. So when we pursue the government, okay, to implement this. This letter was sent to all state government and all PBTs. But how many people at the OSC levels or building department aware the existence of this letter? So what I have done, when I have this issue, in my submission, I attach this letter. Say that your comment is not relevant. And when you say that lulus bersyarat, sometimes the lulus bersyarat itu mesti dapat kelulusan bomba. Of course, okay, lulus bersyarat, but there is not syarat that you have to change your building plan. Okay, that is syarat policy. So I go back to the previous slide. Okay, if you see the red box there, syarat-syarat pindaan mesti disertakan oleh jabatan memperaku dengan jelas. So if building department is giving the approval with the syarat pindaan plan, then the syarat must be stated. Okay, what happened today? Lulus dengan syarat pindaan plan. Where is the syarat? Oh, you must go chase every department. You must go chase every local authority. And that is not valid. Okay, because when lulus bersyarat dengan pindaan plan, in the letter to say that lulus bersyarat dengan pindaan plan, this is the thing that you have to amend. List there. If it's not there, and it's deemed as approved. Okay? Because what happened is that when lulus bersyarat dengan pindaan plan and the syarat is not there, you have to chase department. I want the condition, I want the condition. Okay? 1 month later, you got the condition, you comply, you submit, rejected. Why? You exceed the 28 days. So that's the issue happening on the ground. All right, so there are many other things. Okay, even at stage 3 also, even as simple as notification for commencement of work. The original intention is very easy for the PSP and SP to notify the local authority that I'm going to start work in 4 days. Okay? But you see what happened today. There's a list. There's a list. You need to comply. Why the local authority need the building plan approval, KM approval, all these things setting out? Why? Why they need? We have an online system. You ask for submission of linen. Okay? Why you want linen if you don't even have that copy? Why you want online if you don't even have that copy? And under the law, what is required is only one form, which is Form B, not even a cover letter. Even cover letter is not required under the law. So, in I think 2021, I did a survey. So I received 180 complaints from the industry player, including developer, contractor, architect, engineers. I forwarded to KPKT. One of it is this one. So, this is the issue. Notifikasi Borang B perlu mendapat kelulusan PBT terdahulu. So, there are local authority that say that when you submit Form B, you cannot start work until we bring to the meeting after the OSC committee approve, which is not intention of the law. By law say that 4 days after the notice, I can start work. So, when KPKT investigate, so this is the feedback from the PBT. Okay, untuk pastikan tempoh sah KM dan PB. The reason why they say that you must wait for approval in the meeting because we want to check that your building plan is still valid and your KM is still valid. I think that is not a correct reason for you to delay up to sometime 1 month just to check on that. And this information should be readily available, okay, because you have the online system and you have the linen. I keep on talking about the linen because they still insist that to submit in linen. Even for fee calculation, we have to submit in linen. Okay? All right. So, what KPKT has responded to JKT? Notifikasi mula kerja binaan Borang B tidak memerlukan kelulusan dari PBT. This is important. It's not required approval because it is a notice. Okay? Ulasan dalam tempoh 4 hari perlu dikeluarkan kepada pemohon sekiranya terdapat isu berkaitan. Only if you have issue with the site, then you say that we cannot allow you to start now because there's some issue on the site, maybe landslide or something happening on the site. Other than that, if you do not comment, give any objection within 4 days, then the construction work can commence. So as simple as that. And similarly on the item number 2 about CCC, there are PBT say reject the deposit of CCC and some PBT want to tarik balik to cancel CCC. So what KPKT say that notis tidak kepatuhan dan notis penahanan CCC perlu dikeluarkan sebelum PSP menandatangani Borang F. Means that if you suspect, if the local authority suspect something wrong with the CCC or the process, the notice must be issued before the CCC has been issued, be signed and issued to the developer or project owner, not after that. Because if after that, it will not invalidate the CCC, CCC will remain valid, but the local authority still can issue arahan pematuhan, but not to cancel the CCC. So these are some of the things that, of course, there are a lot, like I mentioned earlier, there are 180 others. So last year, the government, we worked together with KPKT, JKT, and Pemuda, and also Ministry of Economy, because a lot of complaints from the industry, they want us to study, comparing the performance of PBT. So basically what we have done, we only take the process to P2, mean the approval of KM and also building plan. We couldn't manage to do process P3, P5 or P6. It is insufficient data available. So for the data available for 95 PBT, this is what we have done. Okay. So we have the name of all PBT, but I was not allowed to disclose their name. So it's just numbers here because of sensitivity. So number 1 to number 95 mean that 95 PBT, okay, that we have studied in Peninsula Malaysia, excluding Sabah, Sarawak. including the wilayah as well, the three federal territories. So the best is number 1. They can process at average of 23 days for P2. And the worst is number 95, 113 days average to process. Ada 4 bulan, ada sebulan, ada 2 bulan. So the average is 113 days, and the best is average 23 days. And then when we show this figure, they say that maybe because this one is a small local authority, only 5 projects a year, then they can do that. Or maybe because they are big authority like DBKL, they have many staff so that they can do that. Then this is the DTF, distance to frontier, World Bank methodology. They measure the distance from the last, which is 0 point, to the first, which is 100 points. So the second different is let's say 98 or 88, 98 to 100. So it means that the gap is very little. So which is 24 days, 1 day gap. So there are many elements. So this is the distance. So for that, to prove that whether the size of PBT or type of PBT influence the decision or not, so we have made a comparison between all the Banjales Bandaraya, mean the big cities. So the big city also, there are 14 big cities, Bandaraya status. Okay, the fastest can do 32 days, and they have 502 submissions a year in 2023. This data is based on 2023. And the worst is 74 days and 741. So this shows that even if you have 1,000 submissions, you still can do it in 54 days. Even you have less, only 253, you take 63 days. So regardless whether how many submissions, okay, but it is the practice. Similarly, when we check with Majlis Pemandaran, also same. Okay, of course, this one can do in 25 days because only 23 submissions a year. But some, for example here, more than 1,000, but still can do within 41 days. But if you look at here, for example here, only 260, but take 79 days, and this one 343, take 99 days. So the status of PBT, the size PBT, does not necessarily correlate to the number of days taken. So, to give more impact, so the Minister of Economy, YB Rafizi, said that we will focus on the active PBT. So how do you determine the active PBT? So we say that those PBT that receive more than 300 submissions a year, which is more than 1 submission a day average, then we consider active PBT. So we will focus to improve this 46 PBTs. Okay. Oh, sorry, this one is Majlis Daerah first. So Majlis Daerah also the same. Okay. So that we choose the active PBT with more than 300 submissions a year. So there are 44 PBTs, so that we will study how to improve. Then we will study why some of them, this one, 718 submissions still can be done 27 days. And this one, only 300, but in 99 days. So from here, we also, actually we have top 10, and we have bottom 10. I'm not allowed to show the bottom 10. Okay? So the average, just to give you some indication, for all projects, okay, you see that the best, position number 1, ranking number 1, based on the World Bank methodology, is Majlis Daerah Labis. Can be done in 23 days. Total submission 73. Okay? So that 73 submission a year, maybe that is one of the reasons why they can do it very fast. Okay, similarly, if you see, but if you can see here, even Ampang Jaya for all project 163, they still can do it in 29 days. But industrial project, this is amazing. Majlis Daerah Ketere, the best, 19 days, but only 1 project a year. Only 1 project a year. It's only 1 project. They can be done. So this is just to show, so that I mean the single data like this, it should not be yardstick. Okay, for example, Majlis Daerah Tanah Merah, 23 days, only one submission also. But some of these, for example, like Pasir Gudang, they have 125, still they can do an average of about 1 month. So this is, and of course we have like commercial, we have residential, okay. Okay, so the finding here that it does not correlate. So it depends very much on the practice of the PBT itself, very much depend on the YDP or pengarah of the department. How actually they have a clear vision what they want to achieve. For example, like Kulai, and they have a very clear vision that what are their vision? They need to attract investor, FDI to come in. So they facilitate the business. You can start the construction before the building plan approval. So as long as you submit, within 2 weeks, they give a special permission to start the earthwork and piling. So you can start. So that's why the construction and approval, everything with CC can be done within 8 months to 9 months. Okay. All right. So, okay, the recommendation. Okay. I think I'm running out of time. So the recommendation made to the government, to Minister Economy, is that for future improvement to allow all submission and dealing with external technical agency to be done through OSC. Centralized OSC system make it comprehensive. It's not that for TMB you have to go directly, JPS you have to go directly. There is no proper monitoring. So that when you submit through OSC system, there is proper monitoring and tracking. How much time they take to give the approval or give the feedback. And PBTs to adhere to OSC system, okay, OSC system, and do not unnecessarily add procedures and requirement in the application process, okay. And then to conduct more training, basically capacity building, not just for PSP, SP like what we have today. It should be together with the technical agency and PBT so that we have the same understanding on the process. To allocate sufficient resources and capacity building training. Number 4 is very difficult for local authority. Short of resources, they do not have enough fund, enough people for the training. And the good one will not stay for long. The good one will be promoted very easily. So that's why those dealing with OSC people, it's always new people. And they are sometimes quite fresh. Because the good one will be promoted. And then to facilitate dispute. So this one is quite important. We try to push this since 2016, 2017 to have an independent tribunal. Previously, the issue is the cost. So where is the center for hearing? When you have dispute with utility providers or local authority, where is the sitting? So the final proposal that we have made to the government is that the online sitting. So you can have a representative from the Board of Engineer, the Board of Architect, KPKT, everywhere, sitting online. Hearing will be done online so that those MBJB, for example, they do not need to come to KL. Dispute in Perlis, for example, they do not need to come to KL. So the dispute resolution can be done online, and it must be fast. Today I dispute about number of copies, I dispute about the color, which green is green. Then you submit, then we hope that within less than a week, the sitting decide this is acceptable and this is the decision. So we hope that this to be implemented. So for actions by the government, way forward, to conduct capacity building, to establish comprehensive certification program is another initiative that government tried to push for this, but it was not well received by the Board of Architect and Board of Engineer. So basically this one is that all the PSP and SP must attend another course about submitting plan. Then you will get the certificate. With that certificate, you can submit the plan to authority special lane. Special lane. There is no need for detailed checking because assuming that you have the certificate, you know already. So self-certification, self-declaration for PSP and SP. But and those who do not attend this, then you go the usual channel. Okay, usual channel. Actually, it does not give you any negative impact. You still continue as usual if you do not have the certificate, but if you have certificate, you can go to special channel, there is no need for detailed checking. Just salient health and safety issues only. And those who do not have the certificate but want to go to the special channel, you can appoint me or anybody who has the certificate to do what? The peer checking for you. Let's say this architect no certificate, they design, give to the with certificate to do the checking, then the peer checker will say that, okay, I have gone through this is accepted for submission. So it's win and win. It facilitates the process. It helps the local authority from checking every detail, take the ruler measure, the distance, the width of door, everything. All right, so that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dato' Architect Izumi, for a very informative speech. Okay, hope you guys make yourself comfortable because we are going to invite our first speaker. Before we start, I would like to share a brief introduction of our first speaker. His professional journey began as a graduate architect at Abdullah Bakri Berakan Sdn Bhd in Kuala Lumpur, followed by roles at MK Project Management and Syari Jamaluddin Architect. Today, he runs his own architectural practice, Kamarul Hisham Architect in Subang Jaya. Beyond his architectural work, he has been serving as a councillor for Zone 4 of Majlis Bandaraya Subang Jaya, MBSJ, since 2018, overseeing the USJ 1 until 6 area. In this capacity, he actively participates in various technical committees, including OSC, infrastructure, planning, and finance, contributing his expertise to urban development and community improvement initiatives. I would like to invite our first speaker, Architect Kamarul Hisham.
Thank you very much to Mr. MC for the nice introduction. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam madani, salam perpaduan, salam rahmah, and a very good morning to everyone. Because I'm used to speak in front of public servants, so that is the guidelines that we have to do. Okay. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me today. And special thanks to my big brother, Architect Syed Radi, who I think recommended to Pam for me to speak today. But fortunately, because as a councillor, I'm a bit busy with the community work. So luckily, I am able to come today to present something on Majlis Bandaraya Subang Jaya, and also as an experienced architect doing the submission, and as well as a councillor in one of the local councils who received the submission. So after seeing Dato' Izumi's presentation, this is the first data that I see that Subang Jaya is not in the list of the top 10. So it's either in the middle or in the bottom, right? Okay. So first of all, may I know how many public servants are attending today? Anybody from JKR, KPKT? Okay. How many of you have submitted to Subang Jaya? Ramai. Ramai. Okay. All right. I'll start my talk explaining just briefly. Okay. Maybe some of you not sure about this. Is not politics. Yeah. Okay. Our Malaysia governments democratically practice a three-tier governments, Kerajaan Persekutuan, the federal governments, where the members of parliaments are being elected. The state government, also the Ahli Dewan Negeri or the ADUN is elected. And the third-tier government is the local council. So I am actually at the bottom, the third-tier government, as a councillor, Ahli Majlis. Okay? So historically, Ahli Majlis was also elected, right, way back. So because of the 13 May 1969 incidents, because of disproportionate distribution of councillors in rural areas and big cities. There was a big riot, right? So the government of the day decided that to change the law. Okay, for local councils, will be appointed by the government of the day. So currently, I am actually being appointed by the government of the day in Selangor, and my surat watika, they call it like appointment letter, is from the Menteri Besar of Selangor. So in my case, my member of parliament is MP of Subang, who is YB Wong Chen. My Adun at the state level is Adun Subang Jaya, who is YB Michelle, and I covers, as what the MC was saying, Zone 4 of Subang Jaya lah. So Zone 4 ni basically covers USJ 1 till USJ 6, and it is a very, I might say, a black area when I first come in because of two big incidents. My area was where they found the deputy public prosecutors. If you remember Kevin Moraes, they found he was kidnapped in KL, bring to my areas at a local workshop, was knocked down and put in the drum and pour the concrete, and we found him in one of the small rivers near my area. The second big case was Datuk Susilawati. Her BMW X6 was found in USJ 1 near my office in my area, before she was abducted and killed in one of the estates in Banting, right? Okay. So we are actually government by the Ali Majlis under Akta 171. So 171 Local Acts, Kerajaan Tempatan 1976. So basically under Section 10, councillors in local council, in Selangor we have 12 local councils and 4 city councils, the recently being the Majlis Bandaraya Diraja Klang. Coincidentally, the first mayor of Klang was also my first mayor of Subang Jaya, who was town planner Noraini lah. But she recently retired, and Klang just received their new mayor just a few days ago. So the Datuk Bandar mayor and the president, the Yang Betua, comprises of not less than 8 councillors and not more than 24. So I think majority of the local councils have 24 councillors, same as Subang Jaya. But there are some councils where there is an interest for the Sultan. Okay, out of the 24, one will be the OBD, Orang Besar Daerah, who takes care of the Sultan's interests. That is the Klang. Subang Jaya don't have, PJ don't have, Shah Alam ada, Kuala Langat, and I think Kuala Selangor, right? Okay, that it says about Ali Majlis, how they're being appointed, and mostly I would say it's politically appointed. And fortunately for me, because I have an experience as an architect, so I think in Selangor, I think I might be the first architect as a local council. And majority of them, there are many engineers and many lawyers. If you remember Derek Fernandez, very vocal councillors in PJ. And this post, basically, we take oath for 2 years. And if we are, being asked to, extend. So I've been the councillor for since 2018. So it's been like, I think, 7 years in Subang Jaya. Okay, I just show you some organization chart of MBHJ. So where the mayor sits there, Ali Majlis basically is like, it's like a board of directors lah. So we have 24 of us here. So all these departments, we have Jabatan OSC, and there are in Subang Jaya 21 departments. All those that I dotted is actually the one who involves in the OSC processes, like what Dato has explained just now. Okay, this is basically the manual that I think all local councils practice, and PSP also has all this system. And in fact, in 2019, when the first, I go straight to OSC 3 Plus online because that is where we start in Subang Jaya. 10 local council was chosen as the pilot local council for this OSC 3 Plus online. At the time, Subang Jaya was still Majlis Perbandaran, a municipal council. So we became a city council just recently, 4 years ago, not so long, 20th October 2020. And although we are very young, we already have 4 mayors. So on average, every year we change the mayor. Not we change, the state change. Because Subang Jaya basically it's like a launching pad for senior public servants to be promoted. So like our first mayor, Noraini, promoted to Klang. Our second mayor, Datuk Johari, promoted to the Deputy State Secretary. Our third mayor, just recently promoted as the mayor of Shah Alam. And we just received our fourth mayor, who is the president of MPKL, Kuala Langat. And he was also the DO of Gombak. So he knows about land matters on the tip of his hands. So in OAC, you cannot play with him. In fact, in OAC, our new mayor insists on all the agencies' technical, luaran, who comes for the meeting, who is able to make a decision. So for those like macam pejabat tanah, the level that attend the meeting must be ADO and above. If you are not an ADO, please get out, because he wants the decision making to be done. If you don't actually comment it on the online system, you must make a decision on the spot, on the meeting. Okay. Right. This is the phases that we go through. The first phase was 10 pilot local authorities, and in 2019, and then 2020, another 44, and lastly, we go live on 1st October 2020 with a balance of 45 local authorities. Okay, I think Dato' has already explained all these processes, the 6 processes. I will basically go details on, because being an architect and as well as a councillor in Subang Jaya, I've noticed some of the flaws that, as what Dato' was saying. So discuss with the, it's actually depends on the director themselves of OAC. As Dato' was saying, because of lack of resources, the department also has a lot of changes in the directorships, especially for Jabatan OAC and COB. The Pengarah always change. Like in MBSJ, we have the current Pengarah is, I think, the 3rd or 4th Pengarah in 4 years that I am as a city council in Subang Jaya. I can say that the current Pengarah is very more determined other than the previous Pengarah, because I can actually see the changes that she has bring forward into Majlis, and a lot of the decision making has been much more faster, and which even the slides today, I did discuss with her what are some of the issues that we can actually bring forward, and we can listen to the public as well, that we can improve in Subang Jaya. Okay, so this is the process as usual for PSP. You register, and in Subang Jaya, because Subang Jaya is an old city, and the development has saturated. Yeah, so we don't have many big projects anymore, because Sime Darby also has, I think, the main developer of Subang Jaya. They have already, I think, finished up all their development except for one big development in USJ 7, and they are more focusing on Putra Heights area. So most of our submission is in category sederhana. Yeah. So where we have mixed development and public facilities and all that. Okay, under these categories, we can actually divide into three that comes in for Subangjaya submission. So category 1 is KM and all the infra, parit, tanah, bangunan, landscape and permit sementara. Category 2 is parit and the rest, and category 3 is bangunan and all the infra. Okay, these are basically the process that goes when we have our OSC meeting. So in the OSC meeting, the mayor will chair the meeting, and the good thing is in the council's meeting, chaired by the mayor, all the meetings, we have a lot of meetings, all the meetings the decision can be amended or adjusted at the end of the month where we have the full board meeting, because all the minutes will be endorsed during the full board. OAC meetings, we have 2 meetings, first week of the month and third week of the month. But OAC meetings are very special meetings with special quorums where the decisions in that OAC meetings, when it bring into the full board, cannot be changed. Cannot be changed. So the OAC meeting is very important. So if you look at the categories 1, 2, 3, let's say in category 1, during the meeting we have endorsed and approved the KM. So the rest of the submission like Jalan dan Parit, bangunan, kerja tanah, all that, it can either be lulus dengan pindaan plan atau tolak, right? But you say that all this, the first item on that category is actually the mother, the ibu lah. So kalau situ lulus, bawah semua boleh lulus dan boleh tolak juga. Let's say if it's the KM is lulus dengan pindaan, the mother is lulus dengan pindaan, yeah. So the rest of the submission, parit, bangunan and all that, is the decision will be lulus dengan pindaan or tolak. But if the KM, when we presented, it was presented during the meeting, there was tolak in the meeting, so the rest of the submission will be automatically tolak. Oh, that goes for the other categories as well. Okay, this is from the MBSJ dashboard. We have to basically improve on the service to the public. The Borang OAC is already in the dashboard. And currently we have 135. I believe now we have, after the, penyelarasan or that, now is about, 123 or 135. And this forms basically, previously it was sorry. Okay, previously this forms, 135 forms, was all mixed up together. When after a few changes and improvement, the OAC department has actually categorized it as based on permohonan. And if you see at the first stage of these categories, like this one, permohonan kebenaran merancang, they have, actually this is the mother, the senarai semak, which is very, very important. So I've had a discussion with the director. Most of the PSP who submitted, why their submission was delayed or rejected, because of this simple senarai semak. Because the staff, as Dato was saying, resources, right? So just sharing with you in MBSJ, the staff, the technical assistant, TA, there's only 7 TAs. 2 TAs to check on the KM, 2 on infra, and 3 for bangunan and all the CCCs lah. So that's why this checklist is very important. So before you upload all the drawings, must make sure that all this checklist has been ticked and must follow all the checklists. Okay, these are basically what, as Dato was saying just now, about the agencies and that, and kiraan fee and all these documents to be uploaded. Okay, this flowchart also, I'll be talking more on the processes in P2 and P3. So this flowchart, Dato has actually break down just now, and with what are the flaws which I also have seen just now. Then I'll be bringing it to the OEC so that we can improve further. Okay. This procedure, basically, I believe when I talk to the director, these are where the confusion comes in. Okay, where does this Semakan online comes? Does it come before the actual charter? In MBHJ, the OSC 3+, there's the time limit. I think the maximum is 99 days. But for MBHJ, the charter period for approval, maximum is 80 days. Okay, I'll go through later how we can actually make it faster. But this is the first steps for PSP that the OEC department has basically informed me that this step are where a lot of PSP comes and fail on this, because when PSP registered their submission, the OEC department has 7 days to check online, and this checking done by the staff and final check by the director herself. Yeah, I just verified with her. Okay, if the submission is completed, lengkap, so the PSP or SP has submitted 3 copies to the OEC counters in 3 days and make the payment, and it will be received in OEC for. So here then it will be start with the charter period. If not, this is where the problems come. Because when PSP don't follow the checklist, some of the items are missing. The staff, we have to make comments to PSP. When you go to the OEC online, they have some ulasan, right? So the comments from the OEC department is that some PSP do not read the ulasan until a few days after, or a week or 2 weeks after. So the ulasan, all the ulasan has all the comments about the submission. So they have to basically check the ulasan and then comply within 3 days and submit to OEC again, failing which it will be rejected. And the thing is, when the submission is rejected, it goes back to the end of the queue. I just checked with the director yesterday. So far, MBHJ submission currently is at 1,180 submissions from the first from January. So with 7 staff to check on all these submissions, so if you don't complete by 7 days, 7 days, so your submission will go back to the queue. This is you are not like you belum masuk lagi on the charter. This is behind, behind. I think a lot of the problems is here. When here, the staff and OAC on all the departments are all binded by this, they are binded by this charter period. Because local councils, there's a lot of audit and a lot of, this integrity and auditing things. So when they comes to this charter, they really must follow. So that led me to think about how come there's a lot of, from my peers, I think some of the architects that contact me, how come a lot of delays being, received by complaints and from my peers in Subanjaya. Then when I see the charter period, I think it's impossible for the delays to be here. So then I realized a lot of it is here. So the 7 days for the checking, if you don't actually settle on 7 days, your submission will be go back to the line, no, the queue. If they have few hundred submission that comes after you, you have to go back again. So as for the process 2, actually for the OSC meeting, I sit in this pink color. Very straightforward. If you had my first mayor, a technical person, town planner Noraini, very straightforward, no hanky-panky. If yes, yes, no, no. Okay? So if once you have actually registered, send at the counter, so the charter period starts. So our charter is basically maximum 80 days. So within this, we have this agency technical. Even for agency technical, they have to follow the charter, 2 weeks. And it's even recorded in the OSC 3 Plus online. And if they don't comply, like I said just now, all these agency technical luaran, ATL and ATD, they are inside the OSC meeting. And the mayor will ask them, okay, for this submission, what is your ulasan? Because within 14 days, they have to comment online so that the OSC Urusutia will bring it to the meeting. So during the meeting, if there's no ulasan from the agency, the mayor will ask straight to his face, what is your ulasan? That's why the decision makers must attend this OSC meeting. So for our OSC meeting, we have made it clear that the first meeting, if everything is clear, will be lulus. Kalau ada sikit-sikit, kita boleh bagilah pindaan, kan? Tapi kalau dia tak comply, dia akan pergi, ada another 14 days. 14 days untuk dia pindah the plan. So bila sampai 14 days, okay, plan dah pindah, ikut yang apa kita bagi makluman, boleh lulus lah. But selepas 14 hari lagi, 28 hari, masih tidak pindah, then automatically kita tolak lah. So that's why I can actually say that from 2019 until now, we had 3 or 4 directors. The current one are more systematic, and we managed to basically approve a lot of the submissions. But the problem is, I believe, a lot of it is here. That when you first submit, according to the director, some of our PSP, my peers, brothers and sisters, would like to test the public servant. Okay, kita ada senarai semak kan? Masuk je, upload je. Upload saja. Kalau dalam senarai semak tu nak submit kan, 10 item kan, kita try lah upload 5. Why? Lepas upload, we can bill our client. Kan, dah submit dah. Because I also help to basically with the state agencies because they also do submission. Walaupun G to G kan, tapi MBSA still requires to submit. Like state libraries, they have a library in Puchong. 2 years tak lulus. Aduh, pening saya. State libraries, I've been appointed by the state kan, so I have to help the state lah. So I had to go to the director and check on her system because she's the pengarah. Apparently, the PSP has actually not looked into the ulasan until the KM lapse. But I know the director of State Library, Datin Paduka Mastura, because I'm one of the panel architects for State Library. So Datin cakap, Encik Kamarul, you ahli majlis tak boleh bantu ke? 2 tahun dah punya arkitek submit kan? Oh ya ke puan, 2 tahun lamanya. Okay. Go back, MBHJ, pergi masuk bilik pengarah. She open the system. Pengarah punya tau, pengarah. Cik Kemaru tengok ini. In the system, all the communications is there, you know. Bila you masuk, bila the staff comment, bila semua, she list down all the dates. Until the KM dah lapse. Bila KM dah lapse, dia tak boleh lanjut dah. The architect has resubmit lagi lah. Masuk lagi. Then baru kita bantulah. So, ada juga yang kita, public servant says, PSP must be competent. One thing is about, kita punya submission dan maybe delay kan. Tapi on the other side also, kita request PSP also lah, my peer brothers and sisters, to be competent lah. Mungkin macam Datuk sebut tadi, it's good to have that certification kan. So then we have the trust on the local council as well. Okay, basically this is straightforward. I will share with you the minutes, some of the extract from the minutes kan. Lepas ini, kalau dah lulus, kita terus document. So if you can, in fact, you can actually get by 38 days, in the first meeting, OSC meeting, boleh lulus dah. 38 days. Tetapi masalahnya, I think sini, bila the actual, charter period doesn't start. Sini, a lot of, I receive also comment lah, macam when they see some officers, dia kata ni font tak betul lah ni kan. Itu memang I betul. Kata memang itu tak boleh. Itu font tu tak ada, it doesn't relate to whatever ni kan. Okay. Oh dah hang dah. Ke sini. Okay. We just had our next OAC meeting is this Monday. So OAC basically is very straightforward and depends on the mayor as well. Sometimes biasa kan surat wahyu. Okay, surat wahyu kita biasa dapat. Jadi kita kena balance jugalah. Sometimes tengah OAC dapat call kan. Councillors, because councillors basically like we are not MBHJ staff. We are not MBHJ staff. We are like a intermediate between the councils and the residents. So whatever residents complaints, we will bring. And normally Subangjaya residents, they are not pro for development. Ada big development saja bantah kan. As we are the councillors lah. So kita akan bawa. Okay, for this one also, kita during the OEC meeting as well, we also bring about the concerns of the community as well. Okay, my time is up. I think I just fast forward. These are the chartered for 2 weeks for agency luaran. So macam ini kan, LPHS and luas always dia tak ada komen. Kita kena minta ulasan dia dalam meeting. So most of these are from the pengarah punya ni lah. So this basically dah comply within the 2 weeks lah. Okay, this is tak ada ni. This adalah contoh-contoh lah. Kita akan bagi tarikh itu untuk C1 dan ada syarat-syarat. In fact, C1 is very important. Sometimes bila developer or PSP dapat C1 kan, oh so excited. Lepas tu tak tengok syarat-syarat panjang bawah kan. So syarat-syarat tu if you are basically kalau you terkilan dengan syarat-syarat daripada majlis, macam some developers before this kan, majlis akan syaratkan buat flyover, sambung masuk development, masuk jalan sini semua kan. But if you have actually 30 days to basically submit to the state bodies to basically if you are not satisfied with the complaint. But you cannot, after you 30 days, dia tak boleh dah. Kadang-kadang lepas siap baru dia kata, oh I cannot build lah this flyover. Tapi sebab dah ada syarat Oh, dah tergantung lagi. Dah hang, okay. Ini pun dah explain tadi. I just go to the last slide. I think some of the wait, hang. Maybe page 40, I think. Okay, kejap. Alright. Next, again. Okay, alright. Isu dan masalah. Okay. Mengukuhkan permohonan di kaunter. Okay. These are some of the issues that was briefed up by the staff. Okay. Dokumen tidak lengkap, tidak sama seperti. Okay. When we upload the documents, then they found out that it's not the same as what have been submitted as a hard copy, and dokumen yang dikemukakan bukan salinan asal, mungkin salinan bila tak tahulah. Dokumen they use Lala Move, itu biasa. Lala Move, and then they expect staff OSC to come down to the lobby and pick up. Ini pun selalu berlaku, rosak, koyak, tidak menyediakan salinan yang cukup. PSP tidak, okay, penyelarasan sesama sendiri. There are developers who are very proactive because they want to make sure their projects, starts and approve fast. So dia all the agency luaran kan dia selesaikan dahulu, because if you remember just now the 28 days, sebab macam bomba kan. Kalau bomba, kalau tak settle dia punya kelulusan, biasa bomba paling lama kan. 3 bulan, 4 bulan. Kita meeting untuk itu 28 hari saja. Jadi first meeting ulasan bomba tak ada. Second meeting tak ada lagi. Kita nak tunggu 3 bulan kan ulasan bomba. Sure kena tolak lah. Sebab itu the more proactive PSP and pemaju, dia akan pergi dapatkan itu dulu. Okay. Ada lagi. Ulasan teknikal. Okay, ini from jabatan lah. Some of the jabatan tidak keluar ulasan teknikal untuk di-upload dalam sistem online. PSP tidak mematuhi ulasan teknikal dan jabatan tidak muat naik ulasan teknikal terperinci. Okay, this 28 days punya inilah pematuhan. PSP lambat because the ulasan is all there, it's all recorded inside. There are some of them were saying that okay, kita tak nampak pun ulasan tu dalam online because they are in the system where we can actually hide the comment. Tapi kita dah comment, bagi tahu dekat KPKT recently to make it as a default so that all comments must be, tak boleh hide lah. Sebab nanti PSP akan kata, oh kita tak nampak komen. Ini CCC lah. I think, so these are some of the example extract from the minutes yang macam lulus tolak kan. So kalau tolak tu, mostly during the meeting, yang mana straightforward kita lulus. Okay, I think my time is up. So again, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me today, and I'm actually looking forward to the questions and the presentation from my peers regarding PBT lah, local councils, so that actually today's program is not about bashing each other. So we want to improve further so that both parties, architects, PSPs, and local council can work together to improve the system. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Architect Kamarul Hisham. Our next speaker, with 22 years of experience in architecture, she has been involved and managed project teams across various projects, including residential, commercial, mixed-use development, and institutional buildings. Her firm, Hanita Architect, was established in 2014 and has extensive design experience across various portfolios. Please welcome Architect Hanita Harun.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Okay. My name is Hanita. I'm from Hanita Architect. Alhamdulillah and thank you for the invitation today. Actually, my approach will be totally different from Architect Kamarul. I'm actually the consultant part. I will cover on the consultant part. So today I would like to share 3 sides of my experience as a architect consultant submitting architect. Okay. Sebelum tu, saya nak minta maaf awal-awal jika ada misinformation because of most of the project I have done 3 to 4 years pass by and melibatkan konsultan-konsultan lain, especially jabatan perancang, planner and other konsultan lah. Okay. Tujuan dekat sini hanya nak share experience, bukan nak berkecilkan mana-mana pihak. Untuk menidakkan hak masing-masing, sila berlapang dada dan jika ada kita nak try to improve and give constructive idea mana-mana yang boleh, insya-Allah. Okey. Sebab dah kena sound malam tadi kan. Okey. Projek ni kecil saja. Sorry. Baru dah. Okey. Dia melibatkan pondok pengawal. Okey, kalau lihat slide ni, Jabatan Perancang, Pejabat Tanah dan Jabatan Bangunan, 3 department yang mana-mana authority sama sebenarnya. Cuma mungkin ada tik sikit bergantung pada daerah masing-masing lah. Cuma ini yang standard procedure untuk application untuk pondok pengawal. Sebesar pondok pengawal ni hanya 300 square feet yang terletak di kita nak dapatkan permit bangunan sementara. So saya rasa semua authority pun perlukan permit bangunan sementara untuk pondok pengawal. So kawasan yang saya nak cover kat sini ialah daripada Majlis Bandaraya di Raja Kelang. Sebelum dia MPK, so masa yang saya submit tu MPK. So sekarang dia dah MBDK dekat kawasan Teluk Gong. Dia meliputi 240 unit banglo berdekatan dengan Sungai Kelang. Sungai Kelang, and they even have small jetty for private boat. So 240 unit community rumah bersamaan dengan 240 keluarga. So dia punya community dia ramai lah dekat kawasan tu. Okay, ini saiz pondok pengawal 300 square feet, ada 1 toilet dengan 2 bilik untuk security dengan admin. So 2 kesalahan dekat sinilah pondok pengawal ni. Satu ialah dibina tanpa kelulusan dan kedua ialah saiznya dibina tidak mengikut lawan yang dibenarkan. Okay, despite on that, jadi developer ni cuba untuk membetulkan balik apa yang telah yang salah lah. Okay, jadi masa kami buat submission tu, okay, inilah time frame. Kami mulakan dengan ikut prosedur lah under MBDK, iaitu permulaannya dengan Jabatan Perancang. Okay, dalam tempoh Jabatan Perancang ke Pejabat Daerah Tanah dan Pejabat Daerah dan Tanah, ialah 12 bulan. untuk mendapatkan LPS atau TUL. Lepas dah dapat approval, baru kami submit ke stage nombor 3 iaitu dengan Jabatan Perancang semula. Okay, MBDK saja yang perlukan submit ke Jabatan Perancang 2 kali. Autoriti lain, MBSA tak perlu. Okay. Lepas dah submit ke Jabatan Perancang untuk kali kedua, kami perlu dapatkan kelulusan daripada Jabatan Kejuruteraan dan last kali ialah Jabatan Bangunan lah. Okay, ini standard procedure. So dalam tempoh ni, total ialah selama 48 bulan. Dan kalau untuk makluman semua, TUL expire 3 tahun. So bayangkan dalam masa 3 tahun ni, bila dah expired, dia kena ulang balik semua daripada stage 1. Setiap 3 tahun, dia tak boleh renew. There's no such renew dalam pondok pengawal. Untuk pondok pengawal yang sebesar 300 square feet, yang melibat komuniti yang ramai, keluarga yang ramai, so adakah 4 tahun ni relevan untuk mendapatkan kelulusan ni? Kita cerita Selangor saja. Inilah salah satu pondok pengawal yang saya in charge lah. Dekat MBSA ada 3, dekat Kajang ada. Jadi bila kira balik dalam Selangor ni, kita maybe ada lebih daripada 100 kawasan perumahan yang memerlukan pondok pengawal. So saya tak pasti macam mana pondok pengawal yang lain submit adakah dalam tempoh yang selama ini. So benda ni melibatkan penduduk. Jadi kita bukan sahaja PSP nak submit benda ni, kami juga mewakili penduduk untuk menjelaskan kelewatan sampai 4 tahun. At the end, sampai stage 5 tak boleh pakai pun. So we have to do it again, back to the scratch, daripada stage 1. Okay, ini yang saya cerita tadi. Kenapa saya rasa benda ni penting dan sebenarnya kalau boleh simplekan submission ni sebab dia melibatkan not just one person or PSP, dia melibatkan community. Benda ni penting sebab safety and security. Ramai yang tak submit tapi diorang sebab diorang tak particular about security kan. And then kita involve on the society itself. So sorry. Okay. Daripada statement ni, there is no conclusion actually, dan saya pernah berbincang lah, kata tak ada ke cara lain dengan cara lain pihak tanah dan galian, PTD ada inform ada cara lain tapi lebih complicated, which is kena masuk state, kena bayar apa berpuluh-puluh ribu, which is mungkin menyerah tanah lah, which is sangat complicated dan tak pernah orang buat. So at the end kami terpaksalah lakukan proses yang sama dan itulah berulang benda yang samalah. Dia kalau boleh TUL tu mungkin tempohnya lebih lanjut ke, tak tahu, sebab saya rasa di sebalik apa yang PBT dah bincang dan lakukan benda ni mungkin ada reason-reason tertentu, tetapi berbalik pada kita dengan komuniti lah itself untuk faham benda ni. Bila Presiden komuniti datang, there is none of the PBT yang boleh explain jelas mengapa proses dia terlalu panjang yang sampai melibatkan lebih daripada 4 tahun dan which is expired. Okay. Next, saya nak share. Okay, ini pun projek kecil saja, 1,500 square feet, 1 unit banglo setingkat. Okay, kawasan dia ialah kawasan Majlis Perbandaran Selayang. Okay, menariknya, projek ni ialah dia melibatkan 2 ekar dan kawasan tanah pertanian. So tanah pertanian kan kita allow 20% untuk building. So which is dia boleh buat bangunan 17,000 square feet tapi kita bina hanya untuk 1,500 square feet. Kalau tengok kawasan hijau ni, okay, dia hanyalah 15 degree. Yang hijau pekat ni will be 15 to 25 degree. So kita akan fokus dekat area flatland lah. Is under category 1 actually still, sebab kita hanya ambil 20% untuk kawasan kategori 2. Okay. Okay, this is the fasad yang actually facing the matahari petang and on top of the hill. Okey, ini kawasan lapang dia yang menghadap ke Bandar Kuang. This is the X section lah. So kalau tengok, kita ambil 20% je untuk 25 degree and eventually yang belakang tu ialah kawasan flatland. Okey, kita ke time frame. Slide yang lain-lain tu buat sekejap je. Yang ni ambil masa 2 hari je. Kita mulakan dengan kerja tanah, submission pada tahun 2020. Lepas tu ada COVID. COVID period, masa tu PBT ada yang kerja di rumah, ada kerja separuh. So tak tahu time frame COVID PBT ni berapa lama diorang cuti. Lepas dah habis COVID tu, kami buat juga submission kepada Jabatan Kejuruan Tanah semula. So saya takkan pergi detail lah daripada stage 1 sampai stage 11 ni. Tapi total dia ialah 51 bulan. Saya dah tolak lah estimate COVID period. So consultant ni kena explain kepada klien kenapa 51 bulan. Jadi kami keluarkan semua carta-carta ni untuk explain kepada klien. Dan peak yang paling ketara ialah, kalau tengok saya tanda merah ni, ya, antara stage 5 dengan 6. Okey, ini ialah tahun 2022. Kalau siapa masih ingat kisah Bantang Kali pada Disember 2022, ada 31 kematian. Okey, sejak tu Jabatan Perancang dia keluarkan checklist yang baru yang lebih strict. Walaupun kami dah argue 1,500 square feet rumah setingkat dan kawasan tanah rata yang kategori 1 masih tak boleh terima. Jadi kami kena submit dan dia orang akan keluarkan komen satu-satu, bukan komen yang satu list tu. So satu-satu komen yang dikeluarkan tu kami kena comply. Dan paling terkejut ialah JTPKSA ni, JKAS ni ialah, kalau siapa tahu, dia ialah untuk high rise saja sebenarnya. Bangunan high rise dan kawasan sloping. Tapi logik ke rumah setingkat 1,500 square feet, 3 bilik air, 3 bilik tidur. Kami perlukan JKAS. Lepas tu kami juga submit ke GMG. Okey, GMG tu mungkin boleh lah. Tapi GMG pun rejected sebab dikata kita punya tanah ada kategori 3, melibat kategori 3 walaupun kawasan rumah tu tak terletak di kawasan tersebut. Jadi ada argument yang Okey. So ada checklist yang kami dapat yang baru daripada JKAS dengan JMG, which is tak relevant, kena engage technical. Tapi bila argument tu kita deal dengan orang bawah, jadi kalau tak comply tak lepas. Jadi kami tersepit. Bila terpaksa bawa klien dan klien terpaksa gunakan surat for and back. So benda tu berlaku sampai ke hari ni lah, Disember, which is tak dapat approval pun. Tak dapat approval lagi. So ni bukan nak curhat ke apa, tapi it's just that Tapi at one point bila kita minta advice kat orang lain, they would say the same thing, which is kita bergantung tidak bertali lah. So kami faham benda ni dari segi keselamatan, security, tapi is that a way? Saya tak nak cerita detail macam mana tak respon, tak ada feedback, call tak angkat, tu semua tu I think tu normal lah kan. Tapi itulah saya mencerita sedikit experience secara fakta. Okey, untuk yang ketiga, dua sebelum ni ialah projek yang mungkin tak ada kesudahan lah. So selain dari itu, untuk projek saya yang ketiga ni ialah benda yang boleh dibanggakan dari segi kerjasama dari pihak PBT sendiri. Benda yang sangat impress bila berlaku emergency macam ni lah. So ini pengalaman saya sebagai technical team daripada Mercy sendiri. Kami diarahkan untuk membina hospital Medan, field hospital HTAR. Kalau ingat masa kes pesakit COVID yang duduk kat lantai semua tu kan, time tu lah kita diberi tempoh 7 hari je untuk buat hospital ni, termasuk authority approval. So masa tu bila cakap kena dapatkan authority approval dalam masa 7 hari, kita orang diam je lah. Tak tahu benda tu tak akan berlaku. Benda yang tak logik lah. Tapi tak nak respon kan sebab masa tu fikir lebih ramai orang susah daripada fikir nak approval tu, nantilah kita ceritalah masalah tu kemudian. Okey, dekat HTAR kita ambil kat kawasan lapang, dekat kawasan parking. Dan kita consider lah, walaupun kami mungkin tak submit, tapi sebagai PSB kita kena consider keselamatan, security, red zone, green zone, ambulance, transport, semua kan kita kena dah aware benda tu. So masa tu semua technical team involved dan kita dah capture all the comment. Okay, pembinaannya simple lah, pakai simple structure, pakai BVDF10, dia punya construction method dia cepat. Dia sebenarnya asalnya daripada kemah kahwin sebenarnya. So kita gunakan, nak kata bomba approval, fire rated tu tak adalah. This is temporary building. So bila dah siap, kita start pasang electrical cable and it's all happen in 3 days. So hari keempat tu, kami panggil inspection, bomba, KKM, majlis masa tu MPK, dengan maaf, sorry saya lupa satu lagi, ada 4. Okey, masa hari yang sama, 4 tu kita brief together untuk buat inspection and fire drill bersama-sama. So it's all happen in 2 hours. Dan ada komen, memang ada komen, tapi komen tu bersyarat lah. Dan dia orang panggil kelulusan kecemasan. Saya lupa terms sebenar dalam surat tu, sebab saya tak jumpa surat tu. Kelulusan tu diberikan on the spot, tapi dengan adalah komen-komen dia. So komen yang paling obvious ialah kawasan fire drill ni, kereta-kereta ni sebenarnya tak bolehlah parking sebab kita nak tarik katil kan. So selain dari itu, fire extinguisher, keluar sign. So it's just a simple, tapi macam benda yang tak disangka, diorang boleh bagi within like 2 hours. No major comment, and alhamdulillah benda tu beroperasi petang tu juga. So masa tu memang semua tim bekerjasama. Kita tidak melanggar apa-apa peraturan yang ditetapkan, basic requirement lah kita follow. So alhamdulillah kita dapat on the same day. Okay, so in this is the time frame lah. So sangat berbeza dengan slide saya sebelum ni kan. And 2 hours je, yang tadi tu bertahun kan. So this is my slide yang saya rasa kagum lah. Harap-harap, saya berharap kalau PBT boleh buat macam ni untuk job renovation. Okay, mungkin ini tak ada kaitan tapi saya just nak share yang actually video ni melibatkan semua tim. Okay, hari pertama dia dah start pasang structure. Toilet kita pakai portable lah. Kita sewa. Maksudnya 2 hari sekali kena buang air sewer tu. Tak boleh nak korek kan. Kita gunakan genset pun kita pakai sebab kawasan dia jauh daripada plant room. So ni hari kedua dia dah start pasang PBD F10, raised floor. Yang ni semua ialah doktor, pengarah-pengarah, diorang pun datang bersama-sama. Ini testing untuk ambulance access. Malam pun diorang bekerja. We work 24 hours. Malam shift lain, pagi shift lain. Ini semua barang-barang donation daripada orang ramai. Fire drill test. Ini KKM dengan MPD. Bomba pun ada. Okey, terima kasih.
Thank you, Architecture. Thank you to PAMCPD committee for this invitation. Basically, my slide and my presentation is more about like experience. And in my slide, my content will be more like a kisah benar and sharing of what are the issues that we face while dealing with a few authorities. Of course, there's many authorities. Some are very smooth when we're doing the submission. Of course, some are having some hiccup. So this is more like a kisah benar. So due to the time reason, I would like to go a bit faster so we can catch up for the session on time. Okay, so just a quick thing of how we experience similarly. What actually comes to your mind when the client asks you about the authority submission? So of course it's about the system and time related to the system. So it's a system that will take time in the process of getting the approval before we started the construction. Okay. Of course, you may also explain to the client how is the process has been done based on your experience. Now, come to the question here is it all this process are actually reasonable or is it efficient? Okay. So in my slides, my content will be I pick up some few of the majlis and basically what are the process in the case study, which is our project or someone's project, what are the challenges that we face and end up with our suggestion so that the PPT can take into consideration. Okay, so these are the summarize of what are the process from one of the majlis. I've not mentioned the majlis, just look at the slides. So this is just for a house or project renovation. So too much of detail, and I won't go through, just to have a look at how much of a step that we required to go through. Thanks to my partner, Architect Ashi, who is also the council member and actively working with Architect Dato Ezumi for OSC process. Okay, as you can see, moving forward regarding this, the Majlis, one of our project, we actually doing, other than doing the OSC, going through the OSC system, but we also required to do submission in another online platform. Okay, so this is the e-building platform. So if let's say you're going to do a building plan submission, you not only have to go through the OSC, but still we need to submit e-building. So it's like a repeating job for the architects. So we have a full bunch of documents. We are submitting this platform and also this platform. Okay, and furthermore, as you can see, other things that we face, this is the chronology of one of our projects. So I just want to highlight just part of the things that we face. For instance, we understand there will be some sort of like a pre-checking had to be done to ensure that everything has to be, all the documents and drawings are in order before we go through the submission process, the actual submission. So you can see that just only one comment based on the perspective view, we actually have to go through multiple. It's just for perspective view only. So sometimes we just think that why is it a little comment have to be taking so much of the review. And then at one point that this is not under the checklist, but the officer actually requests drone aerial view. And this is just for a renovation house, not the high-rise building. Okay. Then other than that, the terrace house also requests a soil test report. So this is not inside, this is not under like bangunan already. It's go beyond bangunan, whereby other jabatan as well. So you can see the overall for LA side. So somehow we think that some of the requests is actually not really necessary for this kind of small scale project. Okay, but unfortunately we did this so-called the submission, then end up there's too many things to comply just for the small scale building. End up the owner have to put on hold for this project. Okay, so from here I just be very quick and go through. These are the summarize on what are the challenges that we actually face. So approvals and comments supporting from several departments such as planning, engineering for infra, even though sisa perbejau for just for a small scale building that may increase time required. That's why at the end of the day, some of the resident or house owner, they just give up because of the process. Okay. Another thing, difficulty meeting and discussing with the officer. Delays in resolving queries and understanding the requirement. So as I mentioned, just the comment on the perspective, that it cannot resolve on the same day. So we have to keep going on and they are reviewing and commenting the same thing. Okay. Other than that, KM and BP are using two different online platforms. So it's making a replicating system for PSP. So which we think is quite unnecessary. Comments being shared in multiple stages rather than at once result in repetitive pre-consultation efforts. Yeah, so this is the same that I mentioned for the comments during the pre-checking. Some guidelines may seem excessive, adding unnecessary complexity to application process. So example, one of the project terrace house renovation required to obtain all department sokongan prior submission to the OSC. Okay, unreasonable guidelines such as the drone perspective, so incur another additional cost. So this we are think that smaller scale shouldn't have such requirement. Okay. Okay, this one is another majlis, so you can have a look at the slide. I'm not going to mention. So as you can see, this is another renovation project as well for a terrace factory. So as you can see, we already done the a flow chart that how long it would take just to get the approval. So I'm just going to point out one part for this pre-checking stage, whereby the receipt lantikan contractor tong roro and calculation shall be done at this stage. So the question is, why in this peringkat sema awal we need to pay for contractor tong roro? This is just a very early stage. Secondly, why do we need officer? I mean, this is another thing is about 2 officers need to sign on the borang pengesahan and kiraan fee. And this pengesahan kiraan fee will be expired in 30 days. If it's expired, you need to resubmit again. So not only to gain 2 officers to sign off, and after sign off, you only have 30 days expiry date before you go through the submission. Okay, so this is one of the things that I will highlight during especially on the pre-checking stage. Okay, and then another case involving KM, they require KM, and then for perunding architect, we filed in the KM submission, end up we only get this comment, sila lantik, juru rancang bandar, and whereas this is just a terrace factory, just to break a party wall and add a small mezzanine floor. Okay, architects are not allowed to submit KM, the reason they're given. But actually, we know that the fact that KPKT has clarified that architects are allowed. Okay, so as you can see, from this point, architect professional adalah dibenarkan untuk menyedia dan mengungkapkan permohonan bagi kebenaran merancang. So why PBT cannot accept architect submission for KM? Okay. So just to summarize the challenges that we face for this particular project at the authority, PBT, excessive and inefficiency process especially during pre-checking. So sign off by 2 officers for each person, if they would took at least 2 weeks just to sign. Hence, there is expiry date for 30 days. And also requirement of payment receipt to appoint contractor tong roro. Okay. Another one is small renovation which require KM, incur additional costs, particularly small scale project. Unreasonable and additional requirement prior to building plan approval to submit a supporting letter or release letter issued from planning department, despite KM has been obtained previously. So this is also one of the issue. Unacceptable delay on submission, Borang B and setting inspection due to relying 1 officer to approve their online system. So this is the issue whereby when we have already submit the Borang B online and pending on the PBT site for checking, reviewing and approving it, it takes too long time because the reason they given is because of 1 person. If the person went off for a long trip or for training for almost like 2 or 3 weeks, so everything will be delayed. Payment, and also there is also payment for extension time, depend on the period. So they are also charging, if let's say you are going to submit a lanjutan masa, so every 30 days they will charge 60 ringgit. Okay. Application for interim inspection via OSC online, that's only reached to the building department and not to others. So end up we have to submit manually to other department, internal department. So this is actually happened to our case. So when we submitted for call for interim inspection, other department like Perancang or Penilaian, they do not receive our invitation. So they advise us to go to the counter and submit manually. So we also don't understand, so what is the purpose of having this online platform if let's say we still need to go for manual? Okay, so despite all these things happen, we have no choice but we actually filed a complaint. Okay, the complaint is also to mention that the reason why we filed complaint, the biggest issue is it took too much time. It took almost 12 months, and just for a building plan that couldn't get approval. And during the endorsement stage, they keep on adding requirements, and some of the requirement is we think is really redundant. So we have mentioned something regarding the so-called surat sokongan and release letter. So that is really we cannot accept, because previously we already get our KM approval, and the KM approval shall be sufficient enough to submit to the building department. So why they are still asking us to get from the Perancang for a release letter or sokongan letter in order to obtain the building plan approval? So we have no choice but we have to file this complaint to the SUK level. So thankfully action has been taken now. So actually this case has been resolved. Okay. This one is another majlis, so you have a look at the slide as well. This one is submission for tambahan in Ubaswai, Gilang. Okay, so the land is actually amalgamate and the building is actually extend. So for this stage, this is just the flow chart on how on the stages whereby we need to do a pre-checking before submission, and of course, other technical agency, you have to get approval before submit to building department. Almost the same thing repeating. So you can see, this is the checklist that they require. They put on their own requirement that we need to get the Jabatan Bomba kelulusan. If not, they will reject. You see, they will reject. So they won't accept the submission. They are strictly on their checklist. Okay, challenges. Other than that, these are the challenges. Forms are actually unclear and details of requirement. Example, so we having to submit a plan structure together by engineer, but it doesn't state in the checklist that the structure plan required to be bind in hard cover, because supposedly some other checklists they have to mention, but not for the form from this majlis. So OSC checklist from the OSC is never tally with the building department. And now we need to cross-check with building department to ensure the checklist is the latest. Okay, as the checklist is always revising. So somehow when we submit, when we done the pre-checking and we submit on the actual day submission, then they also told us because there is another new checklist. Okay, and thirdly, as mentioned, Bomba approval, external department approval must be obtained prior to BP submission. Submission shall be, okay, this is the specific part. Submission shall be via appointment only and required to apply online. So you cannot just follow up with the person in charge and just set the appointment directly with them. You need to apply online. Somehow this method the process will took 3 days or most 7 days just to reply your appointment date. So you can see, if let's say there's so many appointments to be done, how much time already dragged. Okay, submission file is handled by different officer. Different interpretation between zone officer and counter officer causing difficulties for submission and numerous appointments to be done. So if this case has been happened, so imagine so much appointment to be done and the appointment must apply by online. So it actually prolonged the entire submission process during the ulasan stage especially. Okay, officer also too fussy on the minor drawing details because somehow they really check through very small part of the detail. So if let's say they they do not satisfy with it, they can just reject the submission on the spot, even though documentation or the compilation are in order. And finally, checklist building Borang A and Borang B have to be purchased, and it must be purchased at the counter. So this one, I'm not sure why there is still implication about buying a form. So we think that this is also something that I like to highlight, because most of the Borang from other PPT, it can be directly download online, not to go to the counter and purposely buy the Borang. Okay. Okay, so after going through all these matters, so what are the issues that come from? Is this the system issue or human factor? Okay. So anyway, after looking at all this, we have some suggestion for the improvement, whereby suggesting that one officer at counter to sign out for submission acceptance. Okay. OSC online system shall be attended by officer during working hour and not to rely on one personnel. Okay, so this will ease our problem for following up rather than keep calling. Reduce, this one I will also strongly recommend to reduce on hard copy printout. So in order to go green, I would suggest that maybe the first submission we can submit one set of paper. Then during the endorsement submission only, we will provide linen, one set linen or one set paper. Because we think that there's no need so many of hard copy printout. Okay? Whereas for resubmission or ulasan stage, perhaps we can use soft copy, because I believe that all the OSC meeting, they are actually using soft copy or PPT PowerPoint to present, right? So we don't see what is the necessary to keep on using hard copy submission. Okay? Accept KM submission renovation projects to be done by architects. Okay, abolish unreasonable and redundant requirement, especially for small scale or renovation project. Reasonable time frame to reply via WhatsApp to ease traveling time and waiting time at counter. Okay, why I purposely would say that? Because some of the PPT that I've been through, they are actually very responsive. We can get their WhatsApp contact. The officer is very responsive. As you message them, they will reply you in five minutes. Whereas some, even though you call to the counter or maybe you go through the counter, you may never get. So I think there is also a room to improve based on the communication part. Appointment date can be set with the respective person in charge personally. So rather than going through online, so I think we can directly set appointment date just to ease our traveling and also queries. Oops. Anyway, other than suggestion to PPT, we also think that consultant part, we think that some part we need to done so that in order to enhance, we need to do our part right, before saying about anything about the other side. So tips for consultant, just to make sure that always record the name of the officer, position and contact of the officer who talked to you or in charge. Always check with the website and ask if the borang is used or is it updated. Always update the logbook every move. Okay, this is very crucial because every time you deal with any officer, like my practice, we will always ask our staff to do a logbook record. So in any case, we'll use the chronology as a proof. Always have a good bookkeeper. Okay, this is for filing. Authority status report, just to update for the internal office. Okay, be nice to the officer because both of us are doing our job. Okay, but if there's anything, we still need to go on firm stand, especially on technical parts. Engage with authority and PAM if you think that you are facing any challenges. Okay. If you need to complain, complain to a proper channel. Okay, so this is how we actually update ourselves using logbook. Okay. Well, this is a chronology. You see, the chronology is whereby if you've done a logbook, you can come up with this chronology. So if, let's say, if you want to file any aduan, you can just attach this, clear cut. Okay. This is a particular chronology, like a summary. Okay, knowing your hierarchy. Okay, if you know the officer, you know who is their bosses. So if anything you need to discuss with or to, you know, to bring up something to discuss, you can get their bosses. Eventually, bosses are very, you know, they are very helpful to resolve the problem. Okay, so these are some of the jabatan, or maybe you will go through ahli majlis. Of course, call and follow up closely with officer. Understand your bylaw, okay, not to be questioned by the officer. Okay, as an architect, we need to understand our own bylaw. Discuss with local authority with facts. So bring your information and facts, any technical or reference, so it will be more helpful or more efficient when you do a counter checking or ulasan discussion with the officer. Okay, this is channel for filing complaint. So eventually, we actually filed through this CISPA. Okay, these are the borang for aduan. Of course, for other side, if there's any bribery, this is another platform to buat aduan for anti-corruption. Okay. So actually that's all is for my presentation. But you know, look back to it, we are just only looking at this part. Okay, because OSC is involving not just building or planning. When it comes to engineering or technical agency, we still don't see other part. And I believe there is also issues from there. So we hope that maybe in the future, PAM will maybe engage with other professionals to discuss in further. Okay, so that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Nicole. Okay, that should wrap up our morning session. I would like to invite our speakers again, Architect Kamarul, Architect Hanita, and Architect Nicole to come back on stage for a Q&A session. Our Q&A session will be moderated by Architect Hazwan. So if any of you ladies and gentlemen would like to ask a question, please raise your hand and we'll give you a microphone and you may ask the speaker. So I'll pass the floor to Architect Hazwan.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. So everyone ready? Huh? Good. Ada. Okay. Boleh. So everyone ready? Okay. Panel. All the speaker ready?
Okay.
Okay. Architect Kamarul, okay.
Right,
Nicole, Architect Anita. Sure, you ready, yeah? Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you for today collaborative talks, focusing on the one-stop center OSC for local authorities, its objective, challenges and opportunities. As a moderator for today, let me introduce myself first. I am Architect Muhammad Hazwan bin Muhammad Yunus from Perbadanan Putrajaya Corporation, also involved in various project management and contract administration in Putrajaya. Previously, been involved also in the building control division, especially in processing building plan approvals. So therefore, as an architect, I also know that the first hand how crucial the collaboration between the architects, consultant, local authorities, and other stakeholders in shaping efficient approval process for the development projects. As we all know, as mentioned by Dato at the keynote speech, one-stop center concept actually plays a vital role in achieving its goal by streamlining the process and creating a centralized hub for applications, approvals, and consultation. But, however, the initial concept was very good, but the implementation, as Datuk say, it was supposed to be one-stop center, but end up to be full stop. So that's why, for our main objective today, actually is to highlight to improve our architecture industry in the delivery system. So our main aim today is to dive deep into the significance of the OSC, discussing its core objective, which include enhancing efficiency in project approval timelines, facilitating better communication and collaboration between professionals and local authorities, promoting transparency and accountability in the process, and also we navigating regulatory complexities. Just now mentioned the prolonged time of approval periods, addressing resources limitations, manpower, skilled workers, competency, technologies, and also the most important thing is bridging gaps in communication among consultants and also the local authority. Therefore, we are glad, we are fortunate to have our three panelists with us today who already shared their insights, experiences, and thoughts on how to navigate these aspects effectively. First speakers, Architect Kamarul Hisham, which is a councillor from Majlis Bandaraya Subang Jaya and has been serving as a councillor for Zone 4 since 2018. Yeah. So he actively participates in various technical committees, including OSC. So, Tuan Kamarul, so are you comfortable today?
Yeah. Yes, I just noticed that we both share the same color of this is from Putrajaya and Subang Jaya, right?
Okay. Architect Hanita Harun, experiencing 20 years of experience in architecture industry. So make sure you have an extensive experience. So something that you might value share to us today. And Architect Nichols, also from Axial Design Architects, Sindian Berhad, believe that architecture should go beyond the walls. So we already seen her presentation just now. So please be mindful to everyone and everybody in the floors that throughout these sessions, let's approach this session with mutual respect and fostering a positive vibes environment for open and constructive dialogues. So I will conduct this session with dual language. Before we open the question to the floors, I think I will give the warm-up question to the panels to ensure that ready for anything from the floors. So without further ado, let's get started with our first speaker, Architect Kamarul. We have heard from Datuk A.R. Azumi early in this morning about the OSC system establishment in 2007. So today is 2024, making it 17 years, still its introduction in Malaysia development plan process. So supposed to be a long time period. So how effective? The question is how effective is the OSC process in accelerating the approval process for construction and development projects? Does it really help the industry? So, Architect Kamarul.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Yes.
As we've seen from Datuk's presentation just now, I think from the World Bank data, right, we can actually see the vast improvement from the first time that we're doing the business until the implementation of OSC 1 and OSC 3+. Myself as an architect and as a councillor in Subang Jaya since 2018, I can actually see the improvement especially being an architect prior to 2018 and now as an architect as well as councillors. And because I actually sit in the OSC meeting itself, where the presentation, the submission, and the decision-making process. And it all boils down to the leaders who lead the organization. Yeah? For Subang Jaya, we have had 4 mayors before this, and each mayor has their own vision, and the mayors basically are tied up to the state level, where the state itself wants the implementation of doing business is very important and prior to the state income. So I think although there are many challenges, and especially for me as councillors, before I enter into as a councillor in Subang Jaya, I have a lot of drive and motivation to basically, I want to settle certain issues, I want to settle this and that. But has been a lot of challenges because politics in public servants' office, if you can imagine, it's there are a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
So we need to take it slow, and sometimes you have to be forceful. Sometimes we need to take it back, just to let it slip through, and not forgetting about what are the main issues of OACs and all these submission issues. But I am basically open to suggestions and recommendations from the public, and because every time that we have new issues, we can actually always bring it to the higher authorities. Like what Nicole was saying just now, there are a lot of levels that we can actually approach, that we can actually go to. Even councillors are aware. I mean, a lot of my peers also come to me, and some of the developers and consultants have actually consulted with my fellow councillors to basically get the issue done. I mean, there are certain levels that you cannot be resolved, then we have to do on another level. So I think there are still room for improvement in the process, but I think it needs to be a one-stop center and not a full stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Tuan Architect Kamarul. But a simple, on top of the explanation by Architect Kamarul, so actually, what is the vision that as a councillor you see for within the next 5 years, especially in supporting Malaysia's infrastructure goals?
Yeah. Okay.
What is the projection for the 5 years, OAC?
Subang Jaya has been recently. We are very close with KPKT, and in fact, recently the Minister of KPKT, I think not recently, last night, he was in Putra Heights for the launch of our kiosk initiative for the B40s people. So we are very close with KPKT, and we know basically we know the visions of KPKT as well. And our new mayor, Dato' Amirul, he just received a from KPKT to MBHJ as the early adopter of Smart City.
Smart City.
So although we have been, we have been practicing Smart City initiatives, but this is the first time that Subang Jaya has been awarded the Smart City early adopter. So with that initiative, KPKT actually awarded 400,000 to Subang Jaya to basically improve the Smart City initiatives within the council. So one of the initiatives that the mayor is envisioned is to basically improve on the ICT and the process. I think in process of including the OAC. So we hope that with this initiative we can do something to improve on the system as well, and to get the approval faster, so that a lot of people who are actually in the process of doing business will be helpful for them, and also will be helpful to the economy of them, and also the local council, and also the state. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Architect Kamarul. So we look forward into the next 5 years projections.
Okay.
So maybe
Hopefully
the
I'm still there.
adaptation, the technologies in
Yes.
position to the submissions.
Yeah.
So we move to the next question to Architect Hanita for our second panels. As we all know that you have nearly 22 years experience in this industry. So basically, you must have facing numerous challenges dealing with local authorities. Just now you already also explained in your presentation how dealing with the local authorities. So my question actually, what are the most common regulatory hurdles consultants or architects face when working with the OSC? Most commonly.
I always talk to my staff. You are dealing with human. Buat drawing, tender drawing tu you boleh buat sekejap je lah. But when you dealing with human, it's a different approach. So certain officer will approach different way. So when we get the regulation or requirement, different officer will say different things. So there's no
Standard.
There's no standard. Even though there's a checklist, sometimes they will come up with new requirement which is not in the checklist. So what I told myself and my staff, kita try to approach. We as a logic, as a standard value, you buat renovation ke, hospital ke or anything, benda ni applicable tak with the submission? Is it okay? Sometimes bila kita deal dengan cara approach yang okay, soft spoken, they sometimes they will accept. So tak perlu pun nak black and white. This is for simple cases lah, but big cases we have to write letter lah. So there's no A or B punya regulation, but eventually kita nak deal dengan human lah.
So on top of your explanation problems commonly dealing with PBTs, so on top of that, how does, in your opinion, OSC should facilitate better communication between architects and also with the local authorities? So what is your opinion? Macam mana you punya pendapat lah, untuk apa yang patutnya OSC ni perlu buat untuk meningkatkan lagi, memudah cara penyampaian dari segi itu?
Memudahkan ya. Sebenarnya perbincangan ni nak cerita memudahkan sebenarnya panjang. Tapi harapan sebagai konsultan.
Boleh.
Apa yang ada dalam checklist kena ikut relevan dengan setiap projek. Projek yang 1,000 square feet berbeza, 3,000 square feet berbeza. Memang ada banyak paperwork tapi benda tu sangat clear. Bila gunakan satu borang untuk semua projek, dia akan jadi loophole. Tak relevan, tak relevan. So dari situ kita dah start argue. Ini tak relevan. Lepas tu dia argue balik. So bila dalam form tu ada mendedahkan ke argument, so benda tu takkan berjalan. There's no conclusion. So separatekan even dari segi size project. So memang akan jadi macam tebal lah form tu. But adakah at the end dia akan memudahkan semua orang? So mungkin lah.
Okay, maksud Puan adalah categorizekan the submission punya kategori lah.
Yeah.
Simplify.
I also got something to add on.
Okay, sila.
Talk of Architect Hanita. So like what she already mentioned about, I think checklist is also a crucial thing because we also cannot, rasa salah kepada orang yang jaga counters, but at the end the decision making is still their boss. So they have to follow the checklist. But I think the most important thing is they have to open for the a room of discussion. Okay, room of discussion whereby apa yang tak berkaitan kita boleh macam dikecualikan lah, so that we can submit it rather than stuck at the middle. Then another thing that if let's say they can consider those that can be exempted, of course they will ask us to do a permohonan. Then this will bring up to their bosses to make the decision, and that is also another period that taking a lot of time, because it's not under like a normal process that like Architect Kabur already mentioned 28 days or so what. This one is like a separate case. So that also another things that prolong. So maybe we hope that PPT also can also come up with a certain reasonable that the checklist that there's an option that things that can be kecualikan, rather than every time we need to submit a certain permohonan in order to get exemption. And this particular exemption, which is also part of the process, which eventually prolong, also for a small-scale project. Because now our concern is small-scale project is having a same process and the same time frame or even longer if comparing to those development project. Okay. So we wish that.
Okay. I think to summarize both of you punya explanation just now, I think benarnya simple lah. Mungkin kita boleh code in one tagline kan. So kita kalau tak boleh mudahkan, jangan menyusahkan.
Ya,
So
betul.
itu mungkin the tagline that we can
Tak,
apply.
kita pun bagi suggestion how to look into that. Not always permohonan dibawa kepada mesyuarat ke apa ke, then it will prolong. So maybe can look into that direction. Kan?
Okay, Architect Nicole, because you already highlighted, so based on your talk this morning also, you already shared your valuable insights in terms of OSC process. So do you think are there any initiative to be introduced for the OSC process, as Datuk say, certifications? Do you think other incentive can offer to the consultant if comply with the OSC requirements promptly?
Other incentive, okay. Other whatever that Datuk Izumi already mentioned, I think as I already mentioned just now, it's more on like the checklist. Because for us, I already mentioned in my slide, the system, the process is the time. So are those requirements efficient or reasonable? So in my point of view is, I think basically the checklist itself is somehow to really relook back on how to go into a category or whatsoever, so that whatever we follow the checklist, we already know what are the checklist. Maybe we go through a one time of a pre-consultation rather than numerous appointment, right? So these are the things that we understand. And then other than OSC mesyuarat, that one we are understandable because every month they go through they go through once in a month. So these are still acceptable in my point. Yeah. So I think the pre-consultation stage is the crucial part.
Okay, pre-consultation stage.
Prasemakan or pre-consulting.
I think normally, I'm not sure with MBSJ, normally currently practice, for example, in the Putrajaya, every week we have a JKT technical meeting for OSC, so to expedite the submission process. So one of the process that we can simplify to accelerate the project to mean fast in, fast out. So that's the thing I think that we need to approach. So on top of that, do you think that one is from the local authority sides and your consultant sides? So do you think if local authorities fail to meet the OSC processing timelines, are there penalty or accountability measures for them to be imposed on the local authorities? Do you think should be okay or not?
Well, this is under authority lah, kerajaan lah. So I even in my opinion, I got no comment on that. But I think reasonable time frame should be considered lah. That's why we are ending up doing a complaint. That's why this complaint platform is actually helping us.
Okay.
So it goes to the higher level, and then it will actually speed up the entire process, and they will eliminate all those unnecessary requirements. So if you tell me about the penalty, I don't see that lah, in my point of view lah.
Maybe I can add to that. Okay. On the authority level, I think all the local council in Malaysia, they have a star rating every year. Okay. How do they calculate this star rating? Okay, one of it is this OSC mah. Okay. So if the submission or the processes fail, so it will actually affect on the star rating. So all local councils needs to maintain their star rating, especially this year is much more difficult because it's the first time that the category under indicator Rasuah. Okay. So YB Minister has already mentioned that for those local council who has always been 5-star, right? 5-star meaning 90% and above. And there are various categories that when they calculate that. For those where their indicator on corruption is high, they can actually be dropped from 5-star to 4-star, and 4-star to 3-star. So this year is very important because that it was the first time the star rating were indicator on corruption. For Subang Jaya specifically, we recently YB Minister has already basically awarded the top 10 city on the star rating, and Subang Jaya actually just short of a few points below PJ. We are in the fourth ranking lah. So the top one is actually in Bandaraya Kuantan. Second is PJ. Third is Pasir Gudang. So Subang Jaya is on the fourth ranking. The reason I mention this is because one of the most important slides that I supposed to present was not, because it was not enough time just now. The slide which shows what are the percentage in this year until July 2024. What are the percentage of approval in OSC based on the chartered period? So on that slide, I'm supposed to show we have actually reached up to July 2024 is 92.4%. 92.4%, which contributed also to the 5-star rating of Majlis Bandaraya Subang Jaya. So there is a penalty. There is a penalty. You know why it is important for a city council to get that star rating? Because from the star rating, the council can actually get funds from the minister, KPKTs or other various ministries, because normally councils are depending on taxpayers, right? That's all. And especially in Selangor, we has like Subang Jaya, it has been since 1996 our last increment from the tax, the increase in the taxpayer Cukai Pintu. So only January 2025, if the state approves it, we can actually increase, because 1996 until now is already what? 20 years plus, right? Okay. So we need the funds from the ministry level. That is one of the ways that local council can actually get the funds from the awards and from the star ratings. So local council treats it very particular about the processes. That's why we want to improve during this forums and dialogues. Hopefully we can actually compile the cadangan or whatever complaints or ulasan, and we can improve further in the council.
By achieving star rating indicator that
Yes.
we can achieve fund
Right.
and then improve our system.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Anything to highlight, Tuan Kamarul, Architect Kamarul, before we open to the floors?
Okay. I think I'm ready for the floor. Let's give to the floor.
Okay. Now we will open the questions to the
We have
floors.
one more.
Okay. I will encourage all of you to make
Yes.
the most of this platform. Feel free to engage, ask questions, and share your perspective.
Surely.
So together we can contribute enhancing the role of the OSC in Malaysia architectural industries. So for everyone, that information, PAM will compile the findings into a report to be submitted to KPKT. Anyone who have question, please raise your hand, introduce yourself, mention which company you are from, then highlighted your question to which panel.
For me, submitting to MBA.
Okay, Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi semua.
Selamat pagi.
Tengah hari dah.
Tengah
Okay.
hari.
Tengah hari. Okay. My name is Samsul Arman from Anwar Aziz Architect. This is throughout from Dato' Izumi and or the slide earlier. It is starting from the time that when World Bank conducting the rating and then they improve. It seems like the whole government system are all banging on how good we are dealing with issuing the approval. And as per what Architect Kamaro is mentioned about the star rating of all the local PPT, it seems like the local PPT are trying to get a better star and started impose all the additional procedure before the OSC online. Echo to Architect Nicole, their PPT that imposing e-building submission platform. In fact, before e-building need to go through another smart dev first, get through the smart dev, or the plan need to bind that hard copy, then to submit to them before we can actually submit OSC online. And we recently consulted MBSJ. This is specifically to Architect Kamaro. Okay, for the pre-consultation that we consulted, Perancang actually requested we need to do a presentation to Jawatan Kuasa Perancang, Perancang Bandar, for the approval before we are allowed to submission to online OSC. And the documents that required during the presentation, other than the KM drawing, including the LCP, TIA report approved, SIA report approved, BP drawing is completed until 70%. The one that is not required is only the coloring and the spec. MASMA and all other technical agency luaran punya approval to be presented to the Jawatan Kuasa Perancang Bandar. After they approved, then only we are allowed to submit KM OSC online. And during the KMC OSC submission KM, but this one, although the government is encouraging to submission serentak, tetapi most of the time, if katakan dia KM cannot be complied, or the fee submission for PP also it will be burst. So in a way, it makes a lot of developer pull back. Tak nak submit serentak, kita submit one by one, so that we will not, the industry, the player will not need to burst a lot of unnecessary fee submission. So untuk MBSJ, for the KM online submission, other than the drawing for KM, it is compulsory need to submit plan landscape, plan alamat, and juga plan kerja tanah, which we think that it is very strange. Landscape is compulsory to be submit during KM stage. Then upon tapak C1, baru kita boleh submit BP dengan R&D. Just understand the whole, since you were in MBSJ for so many years, what was the actual rationale behind all this? And how can the whole system can actually support the industry? Okay, we know that the PPT wanted to approve everything all in one go. But the irony part is, KM tak lepas, BP fee, you dah bayar, burst. Dulu boleh dapat balik 50%. Sekarang langsung 100% pun tak dapat. So it becoming more and more, it becoming a burden to the industry. Wanted to submit faster, it becoming back to the old days, submit satu-satu. And at the same time, impose more and more requirement. It seems I just wanted to catch the rating untuk OSC online tu nampak cantik, but actually on the ground lagi banyak prosedur dah dipaksa untuk the industry to play on. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Procedures, huh?
Mr. Arman, regarding the procedure not in the standard of OSC.
Okay.
So how would you respond, Architect Kamarul?
Architect mana tadi? Arman.
Arman from
Arman.
Architect.
Okay. Regarding the Jawatan Kuasa Perancangan Bandar, okay, I also sit on that Jawatan Kuasa. There's a history to it. Originally, kita tak ada Jawatan Kuasa Perancangan Bandar, but it was the time our second mayor, Datuk Johari. Datuk Johari was previously, before he entered as a mayor for Subanjaya, he was a deputy mayor of PJ, okay, and also the DO Petaling lah. So he when he chaired the OAC meeting, he always realized that the OAC meeting was too long, because he said OAC cannot be long meeting. The OAC meeting is where you endorse, if it's straightforward, lulus, kalau tak, tolak, kan? Why it was so long? Because all this lah, nak present ni tu lah, present ni TIA lah, apa semua kan. So at that time it was 29, I think 2019 or the 2020. No, sorry, 2021. So he's decided to follow, because he was from PJ, so he decided to follow PJ, where they set up Jawatankuasa Perancangan Bandar. So this committee will discuss all this nitty-gritty and all the presentation by the developer. So apa-apa yang you nak bincang, you nak pindah ke dalam Jawatankuasa Perancangan Bandar. So that is why at the time when we first do the Jawatankuasa, the developer and the consultant has to present present dengan TIA also. TIA pun I also sit in the TIA meeting. So TIA is in engineering building, engineering department. So the TIA consultants, we have to present to the director of engineering with the councillors. And once the comments from TIA, it will be entered into the Perancangan Bandar. So it's actually shortened the meetings of OAC, so that during the OAC meeting, we can already go straight to the point, nak lulus ke nak tolak. Itu saja. There is no, basically, previously, even during our town planner Nurani, the mayor, the first mayor also, we don't have this Jawatankuasa Perancangan Bandar. That's why when, at the time, the OAC meeting can go as long as, we don't even, our lunchtime, 3 o'clock also kan, still go meeting kan. But during Dato' Johari, he changed that so that he wants the OAC to focus straightforward, lulus, tolak, lulus, tolak. So all the details before that has been discussed before the entered for the OAC meeting. I think that's, yeah. Jawatankuasa Perancang, yeah. Because it's easier for developer then, because bila masuk nanti Jawatankuasa OAC Jawatankuasa OAC nanti macam it's the same person. Kadang-kadang ada councillor yang juga area kawasan dia kan, penduduk ada bantah itu development. Kalau in the Jawatankuasa Perancangan Bandar, kita dah bincang, nanti YB akan hantar wakil dia, ni projek ni dia bantah kan. So councillor can help to basically tone down the bantahan. Kita akan bagi tahu what are the consultants doing with all this bantahan, dan apa isu-isu yang berbangkit lah. So we can actually basically settle out all the details in the Perancangan Bandar, so that when you submit, boleh terus lulus atau tolak saja.
Isn't that already deviate from the original OSC punya intention? It's supposed to be make things faster, but it's actually just to facilitate the local authority staffs punya timing. So impose a lot of all the additional procedure. And like what I mentioned also now, like plan landscape, why need to be submitted so early?
I'm not sure about the plan landscape yang tadi you cakap compulsory kan. So far memang kalau ikut dalam tu kalau permohonan serentak saja.
Dekat KM sahaja dia impose landscape, plan alamat, earthwork, common, but plan alamat dengan plan landscape is very not normal.
Yeah.
So that is compulsory.
That one I have to reconfirm balik dengan the pengarah lah.
But just like the second mayor from PJ,
Yeah.
it is similar what happened to PJ. That's where they have all this additional 2 more internal system before even actually we can submit online. It just seems like it just wanted to jaga the rating of the KPI of the majlis.
For that one, I totally agree with you. I don't agree with the additional, what is that, e-building kan?
Smart desk lagi.
Yes. So PJ memang yang itu memang I tak agree lah. For Subang Jaya, we only have one. The one that OC3 Plus online lah. And we also have already categorized all the submission forms so that you pick whichever under your categories lah. So PJ memang there are a lot of ni lah.
I think because of that mereka dapat ranking number 2 tu on the
Could be.
on the data wise nampak cantik.
Yeah, could be.
Maybe it's just a pre-checking process.
Pre-checking. Yeah.
We simplify this so-called pre-submission process. I think at the end of the day, all the consultants, all the developers wanted to expedite this process.
Yeah.
Rather than you impose a lot before the actual OSC. So, in your opinion, how could the authority or even the local government can simplify this, at the same time can assist the PPT to expedite the whole thing? What you think is the best way?
I think in my slide, the semakan, right, the 7 days pra-semakan. The online pra-semakan is very important prior for you to submit the hard copy, because once you submit the hard copy, the chartered period starts. So a lot of the complaints from either side, consultant or the staff, is that the process has been delayed because of the checklist that PSP don't follow. Some of the, when I interviewed the staff, some of them said that PSP just try to, you upload lah kalau ada 10, try upload 5 dulu lah, so that they can inform the client that they already uploaded and submitted. Tapi kalau bila dia check, kalau tak cukup the checklist tu, they will use the 7 days punya deadline for the pra-semakan tu untuk dia reject. And then bila dia reject, kalau kata on that month ada 100 lagi submission in front of you kan, so dia akan send to the back, because dia punya staff ada, tadi I mentioned in Subang Jaya they have 7 staff TA, 2 checking on the KM, 2 checking on the infra, and 3 checking on bangunan up to CCC. So that's why ada 2, 2, 3. So kalau satu cuti, satu tu akan tak boleh cuti, dia check lah kan. Tapi kalau dah bila you dah submit kan, tapi tak lengkap, is not conclusive, they're not complete, up to the 7 days, dia akan go back the queue, masuk queue, kata queue balik lah, yang 100 you jadi 101 ke belakang kan, because the staff has already started to check on the one in front. Maybe kalau kita boleh maybe proses tu lah. Isn't it can use I don't know whether the KPKT or the government can introduce some sort of system. Bila benda tu tak lengkap, memang tak boleh proceed the next. Tak, nanti dalam sistem dia akan bagi tahu PSP ada ulasan tak cukup lagi 5. So PSP kena tengok. Dalam itu dia akan tengok tak cukup 5. Apa 5? Dia the staff yang pegawai yang uruskan itu akan bagi tahu mana satu. Because I remember some of what we happened earlier, tadi ada 10. Bila kita tak upload 10, memang tak boleh klik. Okay. Ada detail lah. Tapi kalau tak boleh klik, then
you mean the star one must be submitted lah, but some are not relevant.
That is mandatory kan. Dia ada default there kan, boleh. Yeah.
Maybe we can allow for another question.
Oh, there's one more. Just now lately.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Saya arkitek Saifullah daripada MXR Arkitek. Soalan saya ada satu je. Regarding apa yang Datuk Izumi mention about the traffic light colour. Okay.
Traffic light.
I think semua agree lah, masalah utamanya adalah proses, dia punya proses dan prosedur je. UBBL ke technical ke bomber ke maybe 5 to 10% dia punya yang cause the delay. Kalau okay, I beri contoh, kita boleh faham kalau isu on kita punya majlis fatwa negeri beza dengan antara negeri, ada yang mengharamkan rokok, ada yang tidak membenarkan tolak tabung waktu sembahyang Jumaat, because dia ada majlis fatwa kebangsaan, dia ada sultan, tapi because this one is about sultan agama dan very sensitive issue, so dia ada banyak perbincangan. Tetapi kita regulation kita di bawah satu bumbung KPKT, walaupun kita kerajaan berbeza, tapi I think kita boleh synchronize kan. My question is kenapa, apa kepada ahli majlis, apa sebenarnya yang menghalang untuk kita synchronise-kan all the 95 PBT, at least 80 ke 90% benda yang sama. Because kalau I boleh mention ada a few example, contohnya lah ada segi dokumen, ada yang macam OSC online 3.0 tu, requirement tu sama daripada KPKT, tapi bila kita nak masukkan, of course kan kena reject sebab dekat situ ada hidden requirement lagi daripada, I think hidden requirement banyak disebut oleh panel lain. Okay, of course arkitek yang baru mention tadi ada checklist. Okay, dalam checklist tu kadang-kadang of course dia tak sama. Dan di checklist tu macam contohnya MPKJ kot, dia minta 2-3 aku janji. Aku janji personal data lah, aku janji untuk deposit lah kan. Ada certain tak perlu. Itu dari segi checklist. Okay, dari segi submission. Dari segi submission ada yang MPKJ tak perlu pun submit bomba untuk Banglo, tetapi MP Sepang perlu. Ataupun sisa pepejal, MP Sepang tak perlu, MPKJ pula perlu. Tu kadang-kadang buang masa dekat 1 bulan. Ataupun satu lagi contoh, the way to submit renovation ataupun amendment to approve plan. I think MP Subang dengan Sepang boleh direct kepada Jabatan Bangunan. MPKJ tak boleh, kena masuk balik kepada OSC. So ketidaksamaan itu apa yang sebenarnya menghalang? Itu soalan saya.
Soalan saya lah. Kita feel lebih.
Saya nak tanya soalan juga boleh ke? Saya nak tanya soalan juga boleh ke?
Okey. Apa yang menghalang? Okey. Sebenarnya tadi saya sebutkan 152 PBT kan. 98 di Semenanjung dan baki itu di Sabah Sarawak lah. Jadi kita punya local council ya, ibu dia itulah KPKT itulah. Jadi actually bagi saya lah, KPKT itu yang instruction daripada KPKT lah. Tapi Datuk pun ada sebut kan, kita ada banyak pekeliling daripada KPKT itu. Kadang-kadang local council ni dia ada dapat pekeliling tu. Tapi biasalah Little Napoleon tu kan nak sorok dia punya pekeliling yang mungkin tidak menguntungkan ataupun mungkin bila pegawai-pegawai itu bertukar kan. So mungkin pegawai yang mula-mula dia tahu itu ada pekeliling berkenaan certain isu kan. Tapi pegawai baru masuk mungkin tak aware. Jadi pandangan saya lah kalau macam tempoh masa tu pun kalau macam tadi saya MBSJ kan, kita punya kalau ikutkan KPKT kita 90 hari kan, tapi kita ambil 99 kan. Tapi MBSJ kita bila dah kira-kira dan tengok kepada keperluan dan resources staffing, dia bagi 80 hari kan. Mungkin di Kelang lain berapa hari kan, mungkin PBT lain berapa hari kan. Tapi KPKT dah bagi certain guidelines lah berapa kan. Cuma dari segi mungkin documentation tu memang kalau nak memudahkan memang inilah, tapi kita ada 152 local council. Kalau dari segi arahan tu memang kita perlukan daripada KPKT lah berkenaan benda tu. Tetapi untuk dalaman bagi saya macam sebagai ahli majlis ni, kita actually ahli majlis atau councillor policy makers juga. Kita we sit in all the committees to discuss about community issues, yang mana kita perlu membuat undang-undang kecil UKK kan, berkenaan sesuatu isu kita boleh buat. Macam bila isu COVID kan, bila isu COVID a lot of communities ni affected lah. Ramai yang lost their jobs, jadi ramai yang nak berniaga kan. So bila nak berniaga, buka je tepi jalan kan. So nanti majlis sampai. Jadi bila isu-isu macam tu kita bincang ahli majlis dengan pembuat dasar, kita bagi kelonggaran lah. Okey, kita bagi orang-orang yang ni nak berniaga tapi kena tempat yang tidak membahayakan. Macam dekat roundabout dengan selekoh tak boleh, kita tempatkan mereka. Untuk sementara waktu dan kita tak payah lesen pun kita bagi lesen sementara. Jadi macam saya selaku architect as well, memang when I first come into MBSJ, sebab I fed up, I was telling Datuk lah, last time I suruh my staff kan, for the same building kan, floor area sama, bangunan lebih kurang sama, I ask my staff submit Shah Alam, ada satu site Shah Alam, satu Subanjaya kan. Shah Alam 1 bulan, 2 bulan dah lulus. But Subanjaya, 6 months pun susah nak lulus kan. Then I managed to get into Subanjaya, okay, determine nak change something kan. So with the first mayor, town planner Noraini tu, we can talk lah because she's technical, I'm technical as well kan. So during the OSC meeting, dia kata okay, we can do something about this. Tapi bila when tukar kepada bila mayor dah say something, di bawah-bawah ni kena ikut lah. Tapi bila mayor tukar, you know lah, kadang-kadang bawah ni dia akan buat dia punya tu lah. Tapi finally last year, satu yang I memang nak tukar sebab siapa pernah experience renovation kan, masuk KM dekat Subanjaya kan. Renovation kecil 50% area, 50% or more kena masuk KM kan. Klien kata nak bayar arkitek, nak bayar planner, nak masuk KM bayar semua kan. So I managed to push for it for 5 years. Finally last year we decided to follow. Actually not. Dia ada beberapa council where you when renovation you don't need KM. Macam Shah Alam, Kelang, any renovation small or big tak payah KM, which makes it easier. Tak payah nak perancang-perancang ni kan. Tapi Subanjaya kena 50% and above. So sekarang ni for Subanjaya as a policy maker, I managed to push last year. Kita akan consider waive KM except for roboh dan bina. Kalau renovation kan, dia roboh dan bina semula. And also kalau you naik tingkat dan floor area 1000 square feet and above. Selain daripada itu tak payah KM. So I dapat daripada ni lah. Terima kasih AR Kamarul lah, senang. Dia sebab apa? Kalau tak ada KM, siapa yang tak ada job? Itulah kan. So yes. So macam saya masuk tu memang ada something nak push kan. So at least kita I can do whatever within my round lah. Tapi kalau macam yang tuan sebut tadi kan, itu memang dia kena kuasa yang besar lagi, macam kita punya ibu lah, KPKT tu ya. Kita ada engineer. Mungkin nanti kalau when the government change the policy, where the mayor also can be elected kan, arkitek boleh bertanding lah. Could be lah that. Yes.
I think one of the issues somehow the discrepancy or ecosystem ni also berlaku disebabkan oleh antara federal dengan juga state lah.
Yes.
So
now it's much better because the state and the federal government are the same government. Kalau dulu kita ni kuatlah nak bercakap kan, kalau federal tak sama kan, memang tak jalan lah.
Okay. Now I've been highlighted by the organizer. So 1 minute left.
Okay.
Now the time is running out, and we'll be ending our first session shortly. So I think we can only take one last question, if any, from the floor, before we proceed to the lunch.
Hello. Good
Hello,
afternoon, everybody. I'm Architect Tan. I have few suggestions here. First, I think OSC online system shall go full online. That means no hard copy required except final announcement. I think that should be the way. Otherwise, we do 2-time job. Online, checking 1 time, hard copy another 1 time. Beside that also, the portal should be extended to external technical department application. So this including bomber or engineering technical department like LWK, JPS,
All the related utility agencies.
yes, ICE Langor, TMB. So because at this moment they have their own portal. So how many portal we want to learn? Although some is not related to us, it's to the engineer. But bomber is related to us. They have their own portal, their online system. And worse is now there's a PBT start with their own online system. Like just now our friend mentioned, MBPJ they have that e-permits and also smart left. Okay. This on OSC online. Another suggestion is I think KPKT or PBT should give more training and updated training to their staff. We notice some officers don't know their own SOP. So sometimes even they can give us the wrong direction and also give us the not updated checklist. And also I think the developer or the owner submit the application, actually they pay for the submission fee, processing fee. They are actually the PPT customer. So I think all these officers should know their objective and role. So they have to assist us to get the approval out fast, not delaying. So I think that the mindset have to be right. The third one is BP and KM. So for architect, we involve in mostly building plan submission and approval. But I think for building plan, the approval period required actually not very long. The huge problem is KM. KM normally will take 6 to 1 year or more. So although it's actually handled by town planner, but actually it affected us as an architect because we are the lead consultant and our BP can't be approved, and we are KM and we are the first one started the job. So I think this one maybe Lam and Pam, to look into this. I think they know lah, but it's, the question is how we move from here. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your suggestion, and I think Pam will take notes on the suggestion, and we will compile all the suggestions and reporting to the KPKTs, and hopefully that all our suggestions that we collected today, that we can improve. I mean, for the next future OSCA online, hopefully. Maybe Datuk want to say something?
Okay.
Last.
Sorry, I bukan nak tanya. I am interested to respond to the question yang pasal why not fully online. Okay. In my slide earlier, when I mentioned that when the World Bank starting from 2023, they start to study about online submission. In fact, it's very important point that they're going to measure. Of course, 2023 Malaysia is not part of the study, but starting from 2024 and onwards, then they will measure whether the reliability of the online submission. We have the online submission, but it is not reliable. Why we say it's not reliable? Because you still need the hard copy. To the World Bank, when they mention reliable online system, mean that you submit online, you don't need hard copy anymore. Even you don't even need for endorsement. So, for example, okay, a few years ago, when we say that the ROTEC renewal, okay, you have to go to JPJ to get ROTEC display in your car. When the minister suggests that we don't need to do that anymore, you don't have to go physically, everything can be done online. You don't even need to display your ROTEC on the windscreen. Many people say no, it cannot be done. It's very difficult for enforcement. But today, it can be done. Why it happened? The leadership. The minister who made decision, the leadership is very important. You must have a leader that has vision. So if we have the top leader who has vision, we don't need the hard copy anymore. You can imagine how much that we can save. The environment, money for printing, and time and effort going there. and you don't need the Lala Move or Grab to send the drawing anymore. And your staff don't need to come down and collect from the Lala Move. But people just do not look at in that sense. One of the reasons why, because resources in terms of money, because the perception of the local authority and many agency, every time you submit hard copy, is opportunity to put a toll gate. You have to pay for it, for the submission. So we have to change this mindset because it's going to be win and win. Okay, so all these things has already been discussed many, many times. That's why if you notice that the Uniform Building Bylaw 2031, what is the amendment? It's no longer compulsory to submit 3 paper, 1 linen, which was implemented since 1984. Since Amendment 2021, no longer compulsory. But the leadership of the authority, whether it's the mayor, whether it's the pengarah bangunan, or even the Menteri Besar, need to make decision. If the Menteri Besar say that no more paper submission, make our country greener and save the industry's money, we waste 200, I can't remember correctly, I think it's about 200 million a day, the entire country losses for delay. 1 day delay, the cost impact to the industry, to the government, total 200 million, 1 day. Okay, so what we need to push is that, okay, to change the mindset of leader to look on the positive perspective and do it together. Okay, thank you.
Okay, explanation by Dato' Architect Azumi will end up our session for this morning. So all the remaining questions will be addressed to the next sessions. So I would like to thanks everyone and thanks to the panelists, Architect Kamarul, Architect Hanita and Architect Nicole. So we will meet you later and I'll pass back to the MC for the next events. Thank you.